Alright, so, new, I guess, is our option. Do I have all the relevant chats available? Okay, I can see Discord, I can see Stream Chat. Alright, I'm clicking the new button. SC2VN is a visual novel about StarCraft in South Korea and the people who play it. If you are new to eSports or StarCraft, you can watch a short, voice-acted scene that will introduce you to professional StarCraft. Or you can watch the scene later in the extras menu and get right into the action. So do we watch the scene? I mean...
Nah, fam, nah.
I was gonna say, for
You're
the
not doing enough tank commanding right now.
I was gonna say, for the viewers, though. Also, I've got the wrong fucking lighting set up real quick. Let me change that. Holy shit. I'm on top of it. Let me get that shit out of the way, too. Get the... webcam, fix that real quick. Alright, that's way better.
So two things. If the viewers don't know about StarCraft, one, they're on the wrong channel, and two, they're watching the wrong game.
Also true. Yeah, I guess. In SC2VN, you suggest you select the gender of the main character Mach. The choice will mostly impact how he or she appears. The story differences are minor. Now, select the main character. Okay, this is me we're talking about. When have I ever had an option to pick a female character and not gone with it?
I don't know. There's probably one time.
Maybe? I think I made a male Tauren once.
Oh, you mean Rue in SF5.
I feel like that's partially out of necessity, and I'm also considering Laura.
Laura's sick. But then again, almost every character is.
Yeah. Alright. I'm gonna begin as the main female character. There's a certain feeling that every StarCraft player gets before they lose. Most try to ignore it at first, as if the inevitable is just another challenge to fight through. This is true. You have no idea, like, over the course... I mean, like, mainstream esports, most people are pretty much... What's the word I'm looking for? Are pretty graceful losers, but I've definitely seen a lot of people just, like, outright BM fight losing battles down to, like, the last building. I think it was Challenge versus The Rock. I think that was the match that went on for like 2 hours, and they had to actually call refs and be like, "Are you actually going to move out? Like, are you guys going to stalemate this, or are we actually going to play a game?" Because The Rock had literally just gotten to the point where he walled himself in with photon cannons to the point where there was just like nothing else. Like, he had no other buildings. It was just like photon cannons and a nexus. Most try to ignore it at first, as if the inevitable is just another challenge to fight through. Like their past mistakes don't count if they just try a little bit harder.
Like Protoss's Imba, if you keep saying it.
It's a natural thing. To believe otherwise contradicts the hours we spend practicing. Still, every player must eventually come to terms with defeat. That they would have to queue up for another game, or maybe that they flew across the world for nothing. I haven't met many players that can take a loss in stride. It's painful, it's permanent, it's proof that your best isn't always enough.
Sometimes you throw your stick and punch a wall.
Sometimes you punch through a door when you make Grandmaster. Other times you punch through a door when you can't make Grandmaster.
Sometimes salt gets added to the first part of your first name.
Long after my elimination, I remain at the PC with a blank look in my eye. Clicks shoot from my finger as I leap from page to page. A tournament update mentions my defeat in passing, but no one acknowledges it. When my frustration fades, I'm left only with guilt. I should have practiced harder. I consider sticking around to watch the final few games, but the knot in my stomach persuades me to avoid any more stress. People are nice enough to a foreigner with the heart to attempt a Star League qualifier, but without a win, I'm just one more in a long line of losers.
Man, this game's just setting you up to fail from the jump.
You're a foreigner in Korea. That set you up to fail, like, by description. Hundreds spend their best years chasing the esports dream. 1 in 50 makes it. This is for those that don't.
1 in 50? That sounds extraordinarily high.
This has got to be wings, because you're starting with 6 workers. This is also like Terran Theme 1 from Vanilla, like, so I'm okay with that. Every game of StarCraft begins the same. Gather resources, train a worker, construct a building, rally an army, defend a base, contest the map. Turn something small into something more. This game is punishing, it's stressful, it's draining, it builds you up and tears you down. It's not for everyone, it might not even be for me. How many more chances am I gonna get? Was that my last? Oh, the feeling is back. Why am I still trying? Why can't I quit? My fist rattles the desk and sends a plastic bottle onto the floor. With my chin in my hand, I throw myself into the match replay. I force down a measured breath. Losing a throwaway ladder game shouldn't bother a player of my rank. Scout denial and my poor control of the final fight gave my opponent the edge. In retrospect, my mistakes seem obvious. I toyed with the conclusion that he was hacking before realizing that I'm just making excuses. No, I should have been able to win that one. Yeah! I've watched... Where did I find this game, Envy? I found it through following a lot of StarCraft streamers. It came out a long time ago. It's on Steam. I toy with the conclusion... Oh, yeah, I already read that. Despite the Grandmaster badge next to my handle, I find myself too anxious to queue up for another game. So are you Grandmaster on NA or KR? Because that's an enormous difference. That's like being... That's the difference between being a professional and being the smartest kid on the short bus.
I'm going to assume if you're playing Gaijin in Korea, you're probably laddering on Korea, otherwise the ping times would be atrocious.
They are, and yet Polt still does Korea ladder from NA. And people will ask him, like, they'll start a match and someone will say something to him in Korean, and he'll just type in English. He's like, I'm in NA, and they'll go, how is the ping? And he goes, terrible, but I can play.
That's playing on KR from NA. I'm talking about playing NA from KR.
Yeah, that's probably a lot.
It would be better than the opposite.
Yeah, it's probably a lot better, in truth. So while I'm on the topic, Korean local North American player WizGod, in Heroes of the Storm, he's part of an NA team, but he lives and is a Korean resident. Plays on NA, plays for an NA team. February statistics, top 5, he was number 1. He was also number 5. He took 2 of the top 5 slots on NA. When Smug needed to take 8 of the top 10 Dudley slots.
Player Imba, please rebalance.
So anyways, back to StarCraft. The loss at the Victory Star League qualifier earlier today isn't helping my mindset. I comb my tiny room with a look, restless and unmotivated. Sitting alone in a dark room for extended periods of time is incredibly depressing, a fact I learned only when it became a significant part of my life. Only one thing is certain, I've got to get out of here. After double-checking that my apartment's door is locked, I hustle down the stairs and onto the sidewalk. The light grows with each step towards the shining skyline. Catchy pop beats and posters of flawless models dominate street after street. Foot traffic is thick and impatient. Seoul Tower stands tall from a distant hilltop. But even the lingering excitement of my life in a faraway place can't dredge me out of my hopelessness. Sometimes, especially on days like this, I regret pursuing esports, though I've had more times than I'd care to admit, or it's a thought I've had more times than I care to admit since coming to South Korea. Even saying that, I know I can't keep myself from competing. It's in my nature, and truth be told, this damn game is the only thing I'm good at. What is StarCraft? Some respond to that with an explanation on its game mechanics or its storyline. There are other popular answers too, that it requires the dexterity of a pianist alongside the strategic thinking of a chess player. Maybe that's what StarCraft is to most people, but to the hundreds who carve out a living on it, StarCraft isn't such a simple thing. It's the embodiment of competition, a perfect playing field. No need for athletic genes, rabid parents, tooting tutors, or expensive summer camps. You pick You pick up the game on your own, you learn, you improve, you work. If you're good enough, you can become a god. And if you fail, you stay a nobody. I'm not building towards a long-term career. I'm friendless in a foreign country. I'm respected by no one. I don't even qualify, and if I don't qualify for VSL next month, I'll be back at home at square one. I'll be nothing. But hey, at least I play video games all day. Are you completely sure you haven't forgotten anything? Do you have enough money for the cab when you land? Are you sure that apartment got your money? Is your cell phone charged? You brought an extra charger, right? Mom, I'm fine. Please, nothing bad is going to happen. Remember, there won't be anyone to do your laundry, cook your meals, or wake you up when you oversleep. Budget well and you'll have 2 months. I won't hear anything about a loan for the flight home. It takes an effort to keep a frown from my face. I'm certain that my parents came to see me off only so that they could say they did. I've already sunk the entirety of my savings into this, and now is not the time for second thoughts. My dad gestures towards the security line and taps his watch twice. Go on, the sooner this is over with, the better. Oh, come back in one piece, hun. Nothing comes when I think of how to respond, so I only nod. Without another word, my parents walk away. Ruthless.
I'm trying not to lose it right now.
She has to make her own mistakes.
That wasn't what I was talking about.
Oh, no, I know. I'm still reading. I know that you're talking about your tank waifu sim.
Oh, I'm delayed, so
Ah.
I hadn't seen that pop up yet.
I tighten my fist, my pace quickening. Even though I want to prove to everyone who's doubted me wrong, I'm tired of losing for no one's sake but my own. With the sun long set, overhead signs wash the streets in color. I've wandered so far that a walk back to my apartment would take almost half an hour. My renewed drive to practice my craft drives me to search for a place to play. It's not long before I see the words I'm looking for. PC Bang. Legitimately curious. Is it R? Can I just click the... God damn it. Oh, there's the glossary. What the fuck is a PC Bang? Is a type of LAN gaming center where patrons can play multiplayer computer games for an hourly fee. PC Bangs remain popular. So it's just a net cafe.
Yeah.
No, that's not what I wanted.
So, I get to the point in the story where I can call somebody. And as my character goes to reach for the phone, Yandere Tank calls him.
Of course.
And then tells him his blinds don't match his bedspread. And he's like, what? And she's like, you want to go out on a date? And he's like, yeah, I'll call you tomorrow. She's like, I'll be there in 2 minutes. And she's knocking on the door. And then she's like giving him creepy eyes. Like,
yep, that sounds about right. Doesn't sound like she's threatened to kill you yet.
Not yet. But I feel like that's coming shortly.
The amount of foot traffic suggests it's a pretty popular internet cafe. A sign on the front window reads Golden Zone Fire. Though I've only visited them a few times, PC Bangs are one of the things that got me interested most about Korea when I first got into StarCraft. Duking it out for champion status of a neighborhood cafe is old school cool, like the type of Western where a sheriff defends his turf against upstarts and outlaws. Or, old school arcades in the West. It's an ideal that takes a little, it's an ideal that's a little bit dated these days. Most StarCraft 2 competition takes place either online or in broadcast studios. I'll admit, I've daydreamed of being born a decade earlier and playing in the original eSport Brood War during its rise alongside the PC Bang. Yeah, boy! That shit was real eSports.
Yeah.
A better time. Or so they say online. LOL.
I think it was a better game.
I trundle up the stairs and pass through the doorway, immediately struck by the size of the place. There has to be at least 80 computers. The crowd is too large for an ordinary evening. There are more people than there are PCs, even. I indulge my curiosity on the first person I see, a dark-haired guy observing a match of SC2 from behind someone's shoulder. Excuse me, is there an event going on? The guy turns and looks at me like I'm speaking something other than Korean. After a brief silence, he responds. Are you new or something? How have you not heard of All Out Attack? Yeah, I am new, just asking. He hums, glances away for a moment. Though he doesn't apologize, he does fill me in. Golden Zone Fire hosts a StarCraft 2 tournament called All Out Attack once a month. It's one of the few places you'll find a decent player outside of an online cup or Star League. Used to be a Brood War tournament, actually. I see, thank you. Are you here cheering for someone? He only stares in response. The guy walks away with a shake of his head, mumbling something about foreigners. The back of his shirt sports the Korean Pro Gamer Association logo. Maybe he's a Brood War fan or something. None of the StarCraft teams under the KPGA's regulation compete in anything except the original game, Brood War. Understandably, they don't want to fracture a scene they've worked so hard to build up. And that's lucky for those of us trying to keep from drowning in a game that's already deep with talent. KPGA players train for unbelievable hours. Jesus Christ. Well, I came here to practice, and now I'm presented with an excellent chance to do so, if what that guy said is true. A few stairs follow me as I walk forward to put my name on the sign-up list. I must look like a tourist in over my head. I'm definitely not the first foreigner to go abroad for eSports, but most come to South Korea only once they have results or fame. After paying for an hour's worth of PC time at the front desk, I settle for a station that has a mouse and keyboard similar to my setup at back home. A few minutes later, I join my opponent's game lobby just in time for the start of the first round. His name isn't familiar, so I check his profile to see he's ranked midway through Master League. Not bad for a casual player. He seems eager enough by the rate that he's spamming go 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 in the pregame chat. The game gets underway once I confirm that I'm ready. Go 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 go. Oh man, I miss old lobbies like that shit. Yep. Psychotic's got this.
I used to play Brood War. I know what this shit is.
Workers, minerals, Vespine, gas, and a command center. I start out every match with only these resources at my disposal. It's my job to turn them into something that I can defeat my opponent. So, Mike, you might actually want to stay away from this game, because the main character is a Terran main.
I'm seeing that, and B, they're saying they start the match with Vespine. That is not how it works.
You start with geysers next to your base.
Yes, but you don't start with Vespine.
Generally, that means I need to build structures capable of training units for my army. My build order determines how the end of the matchup plays out. This game I've opted for a quick Hellion attack. Not only will it offer me a chance to deal some damage to my opponent, but it'll also allow me to scout. There's one L in Seawall.
Yeah, whatever.
But it seems I don't have much to worry about. My opponent went for a greedy build order, focusing entirely on his economy instead of his army. Did he go 3 hatch before pool? Unfortunately for him, the match isn't going to last long enough for that risk to pay off. My Hellions make short work of his single queen and handful of Zerglings. Like, I'm pretty sure if on a 2-player map, you go 3 hatch before pool, you're crazy.
In Hots and Wall, that was true. It's less true in Legacy.
Well, yeah, you start with 12 workers. Everything moves quicker.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for him, yeah, okay. Handful of Zerglings. With his front line out of the way, I'm free to rush into his mineral line and roast his workers, denying him the resources he needs to muster an army. Facing down a marine reinforcement, it's not long before my Zerg opponent types out the 2-letter GG. Easy. Easy game, easy life. As soon as the victory screen displays, anxiety floods out of my body. StarCraft is tense. It isn't an exaggeration to say that there's never a moment to relax until the match is over. True facts. Bristling with confidence, I get to check up on my next opponent. And it's Excel. I draw my lips in a line and let my shoulders slouch. Well, that's the end of this tournament run. Excel is one of South Korea's strongest Terran players. He's well known for his old-school cred, balanced playstyle, and friendly banter. He lost in the round of 8 in last season's VSL, a respectable finish, if not a high-paying one. From what I remember, Excel was a damn good Brood War player, but he was out of his prime when the sequel hit last year, so it makes sense that he switched. God, that sounds familiar. Is Violate even still playing? Because I don't feel like I've seen him make notable rankings anywhere.
I don't think so. I don't know, though.
I mean, it's like he got that, It's like he got that eSports visa, dodged military time in Korea, and then just out of the scene. While I'm considering what sort of rush I should do to steal a win, I feel a tap on my shoulder in turn. Huh, so you are a foreigner. And find out none other than the man himself is standing there. This is a bit surreal, considering I've followed Excel's play for about as long as I've been into StarCraft. Luckily, his nonchalant manner disarms my surprise. I think we play next round. I'm Mach, a Terran. He missed a beat before regaining his smile, likely surprised that I understood and then answered him. Yeah, I saw you win your game. Not bad. Foreigners are an uncommon sight at all-out attack. Are you a pro gamer? What team are you on? I don't know if you could call me a pro gamer at this point. I don't have a team. Trying to find one, though. I do my best not to look too hopeful, though Excel's blank expression is hard to read either way. He pauses to scratch his cheek before responding. Well,
You
good
got
luck.
top 4 at DreamHack.
Oh, alright. Well, good luck. Don't expect another easy match. You too. I mean, thanks. Oh god, kill me. At least he laughed. My stress from before is mostly gone. If I lose, big deal. I'm expected to lose. If I win, I beat Excel! I'm still chewing over which cheese I should perform before finally deciding just to play standard. I shouldn't squander the rare chance to practice against the top player. He and I bantered back and forth in the pre-game lobby for a bit before the game gets underway. I haven't gone up against a player as strong as Excel in a while. Nice, we've got player profiles. Old school Brood War Terran, plays classic Marine tank style, probably about to crush me. Haven't gone up against a player as strong as Excel in a while. There probably wasn't a single person at the VSL qualifier his level. That only makes a potential victory all the more tantalizing. It's a chance to prove myself that I've got what it takes. Even if I've decided I'm playing standard, I've still got a decision to make on how to execute my mid-game strategy. This map is well suited for a Hellion attack. I'll have plenty of room to poke around his expansion since it lacks a choke point. An attack by air might also be a strong option. The distance between our bases is relatively long by land, but it'll take a Banshee less than 5 seconds to travel from mine to his. I'm confident with both styles. It's just a matter of how I want to execute the attack. Well, if it's a two-player map, I feel like my options are I'm actually getting to make the build order choice. It's either a hit and run with Hellions or an air assault with Banshees. I feel like the Hellions is the more standard of the two plays, and given that this is a mirror match, it's kind of the go-to, and neither one of us is going to come out on top. But if I rush him with Banshees, there's a chance he won't have detection.
I feel like Banshees are the right call because it says he plays Marine tank.
Well, that's the other thing, though, is Marine... Granted, I didn't play or pay attention to the scene during Wall, so I have no idea how... I feel like Triple M was still the go-to.
Yeah, but you don't have that as an option.
Well, the only thing that I'm worried about is if he plays Marine Tank, if he gets an NG Bay quick and then goes for turrets.
Yeah.
But you can still kind of recover that.
Yeah.
So...
And Banshees are a hard counter to the tanks.
Yeah.
So it puts him off his game. I feel like that's the right choice.
Yeah, I think that's the one. I cut out all extraneous unit production to get the Banshee out as soon as possible. The earlier I'm able to hit it, the less chance that Excel will have the right defenses. With my Banshee en route, I clear out the path to his base with a handful of Marines. Denying information to my opponent is important, even if I don't plan to attack from that blind spot. It seems to have been the right choice, as Marines are out of position when my Banshee arrives at his base. I managed to secure a few worker kills before ordering a retreat. Since I didn't lose my Banshee, Excel has to spend minerals on air defense. Knowing that, I prepare to transition into full-armed ground army. Nice! This game is going insanely well. Though Excel took his expansion before I did, the damage he took puts us on even footing. I follow up with an army of Marines, Marauders, and dropships. The bread and butter of most Terran players. Literally all Terran players. Since I cleared the space between our bases, he's in the dark about the timing of this next attack. There's a solid chance that I could do enough damage here to end the game. But just as I arrive at the outskirts of Excel's expansion, one of his dropships unloads a handful of Marines into my base. That's going to slow down my ability to reinforce. Whoa, shit! With my focus on the drop at my main, Excel rushed into the army I left outside of his base while I wasn't paying attention. He's got a concave formation on me. That was your own dumb fault. You should have just base raced at that point. Force him to retreat. And just like that, my advantage evaporates. Though I managed to stay in the game for a bit longer, Excel wisely guards his lead by immediately taking a third base. Soon after, his economic advantage is reflected in the size of his army. After my blunder, Excel's play was airtight. There wasn't really anything for me to do. With a groan, I offered GG and concede the match. I still feel like the Banshee opener was the right choice.
Yeah.
I didn't exactly throw my lead, but I did get seriously outplayed. Fantasizing about how a victory would have felt doesn't help me keep my mind off the loss. Knowing that I did my best only helps so much. But not a moment later, Excel turns the corner with a smile and raised eyebrows. Hey, good game. You're actually not bad. I assumed you were here for fun or something. Oh, thanks. I am here for fun, though. You play really well. I'm surprised. Most foreigners don't hit timings like that. Good vision control, too. And your scouting was top-notch. You're really not on a team? Or at least staying at a team house? Or are you studying abroad? Nothing like that. I'm staying by myself in an apartment by the VSL studios. So you came to Korea alone on your own dime, and you're not just visiting? Yes? I I do my best not to seem awkward about my answer, but any reason to worry disappears when Excel smiles. It takes some serious guts to move out here like that. I can't think of a single person who's made it out here on their own. A few nearby competitors watch our conversation. It's probably not often that Excel gives his attention to a random nobody he crushes early in a bracket. I've got some time before my next game. Let me introduce you to a friend of mine. Oh, sure.
It's gonna be the weirdo with the red hair that was giving you shit earlier.
Right? With a nod, Excel leads me from the PC area to the back of the cafe. We pass a number of known players on the way there, mostly lounging around no differently than the cafe's other patrons. Maybe they aren't that different. I guess even professionals like to kick back with the tangle of chords and a rush of caffeine every now and then. Games shouldn't be all business all the time, though I'd bet the KGPA executives disagree. Excel comes to a stop away from the constant tapping of keyboards. He then plops himself into a seat against a wall and invites me to join him with a wave of his hand. As I take my seat, I look up to find someone I recognize at his side. Jet, a Zerg and former VSL champion. Her flippant and inflammatory antics have made her somewhat a controversial figure. She rarely GGs and isn't afraid to trash talk on stage. Who is she, Idra?
Yeah, Korean Idra.
Korean Lady Idra.
You skipped a line in there somewhere.
Oh.
I watched you double click on the stream, so.
I don't think... Nope, there's...
rewind or anything, yeah.
Yeah. And there she is, just sitting there. It's all I can do not to stare. A smile plays on her lips when she glances past me to Excel. Excel, seriously? Stop promising my autograph as a reward for beating you. Hilarious. She can understand you, by the way. Who are you up against next round? Some Zerg dishwatcher, LHT slash. Ugh, I hate ZVZ. Jet rolls her eyes back to me. After a brief appraisal, she lifts her chin and speaks a single word. Name. What? Oh, I'm Mach, a Terran. I'm on, well, I'm teamless. Jet shifts her gaze back to Excel as if to ask, why did you bring this noob back here? But before she can actually say anything, Excel comes to my defense with an easy smile. Hey, cool it with the judgment until you've seen her play. Plus, you ever hear of a foreigner that came out here all alone just for StarCraft? My girl right here did. You have to admit that's brave. If that endorsement wasn't convincing enough, he offers one of his classic grins for good measure. The response seems to satisfy her. For now. While I try to keep from showing anything to contradict Excel's assessment, Jet aims her attention back at me. Didn't see your name on the list of people who made it past the VSL qualifier. How'd you place? I lost my second match. The qualifier before that I dropped out of the final game of the last series. 2 attempts without making it, huh? Hard to tell much from that. Mainly depends on the bracket you had. How do you live out here with no team? Do you stream or something? I used to stream, but, well, I don't anymore. Jet raises her eyebrow, waiting for me to elaborate until I look away. Without missing a beat, she moves on to the next question. You parents pay for everything? No, I'm here on my summer job earnings and a little bit extra from my grandparents. How lucky. I never got any handouts. This isn't going very well. Still, Excel looks collected as ever, and watching with a smile as the interrogation continues. Did you play Brood War? Not really. I mean, I had a copy as a kid, but I wasn't good. I had to cheat even to finish the campaign. Oh, then you were only a little bit worse than Jet. Jet scowls silently at the jab. It's true that the 2 years she spent playing Brood War were mostly unremarkable. This is your first try at professional gaming? When I nod, she gives me a hard look. Why are you out here? Eh? What do you mean? I'm sure you're aware of your chances. It's been more than 5 years since a foreign pro gamer accomplished anything noteworthy in Korea. I know what she's getting at, but it's not like I have a particularly great or unique answer. I scratch behind my head and look away. I mean, why else? I wanted to become better at StarCraft. Everyone knows that Korea is the place to do that. And why is that? Well, because the best player... No, I'm asking you why you want to become better. Oh, It feels like she's forcibly extracting the truth from me. All the same, I can't leave her expression unanswered. I do my best to avoid showing the embarrassment I feel in my honest response. Because I want to be a champion, or at the least show I can compete at that level. Everyone who plays this game wants that, don't they? You're right about one thing. Every idiot that makes it to Grandmaster and takes a map off a good player thinks they're pro gamer material. A champion, huh? Sheesh. She clicks her tongue and sighs, but doesn't seem displeased. Well, at least any more so than usual. I wouldn't have much ground to stand on if I disagreed with her. Jet is one of the few who's accomplished what the rest of us dream about. Don't be so harsh. Her style is solid, and she stood toe-to-toe with me for a while. With enough time, she could compete. What do you think? Why don't you practice with her for a bit? I could. Little harm in giving her a chance. Wait, back up. What just happened? Did he say practice, and did she say yes? Excel answers her with a pleased expression. Jet takes a moment to stretch out again before crossing her arms across her chest. Stop staring and say something, Mock. The sound of my name wakes me from my stunned silence. I jolt upright and offer a flurry of nods. Sorry, I say yes. Definitely a yes. Jet and Excel watch me in silence until I lower myself back into my seat. Takes some determination to come out here alone. Let's see if that translates into wins, huh? With a thumbs up, it's settled. I have somehow found myself with one of the best practice partners in the world. Hopefully this isn't just for the novelty of playing with some random foreigner. Excel, it's about time to get back to all-out attack. Wouldn't want you getting DQ'd if we'll be matching in the semis. Can you be certain that I didn't lose to Mock already? What if this is my way of saving face? Funny. Have you lost to a foreigner even once? Hey, you never know who's playing on a barcode account. You sure you don't want a pot split? Final offer. LOL! Collusion!
I'm sorry, I'm playing a game with tank girls, and I find this more unrealistic. Just let that sink in for a minute.
Collude? With you? Not a chance. What about you, Mock? Gonna stick around? A PC bang with the bustle of a tournament isn't a great training environment. The bracket will probably take a few hours to work through. No, I'm gonna head home. Got a lot of practicing to do tonight. Leaving already? Well, hey, it was good to meet you. Be at Golden Zone Fire tomorrow morning and we'll find out if you're overhyped. Will do. I rise and offer them each a nod and thanks before heading back to the PC area. The last thing I see is a vague smile from Jet as she leans over and whispers something to Excel. I squeeze my way through the growling crowd and manage to make it through the doorway leading outside. When I hit the street, I'm met with a cool breeze and a rush of voices, sound and light.
So I ran into another tank girl while on a date with the crazy one.
Of course you did.
And she left me with the pro tip of don't stick your barrel in crazy. So I feel like murder is progressing.
This is it. A shot. One final shot to make it happen. One last chance to live the life I want. I quicken my pace, eager for the comfort of a dark room and a bright monitor. This is the day that everything changes. Oh, I do have water. Sweet. And roll credits. Game over. Now let's go back in time and see what happens if I pick the Hellion attack.
Wait, seriously? It's over?
No, I'm kidding. But it was the title shot with the like designer credits on it.
Oh.
True to her word, Jet sent me a reminder to get over to Golden Zone Fire for some morning practice. I enjoy playing online and all, but matching against someone only a few feet away is more productive. Talking over games in person makes it easier to get feedback and improve, and that's what I need more than anything else. Okay, that's true in literally every video game. It is so fucking impossible to improve grinding ranked.
Yeah.
The sting from my failure at the VSL qualifier will take time to fade. I don't want to experience that pain ever again. I catch sight of Jet in the middle row, her attention locked on a ladder game. Without disturbing her, I take a seat at her side and watch the match unfold. Furious taps and clicks rattle her keyboard. Her focus never drops from the game, much less her monitor. She's ahead, though not by much. It's not long until she extends her lead in the late game, and a few minutes later heaves a sigh of relief when her opponent rage quits out. There's no need for me to consult my Korean skills to understand his final message. Zergimba. You actually showed. Colored me surprised. How could I not? The better question is how you have the free time to practice with some amateur. I'm the charitable sort, obviously. Anyway, you're here, so let's stop wasting time. You've paid for your PC, yeah? I nod and log myself in at the station next to hers. A minute later, the two of us are grinding out practice matches. Game after game is a beatdown. I can't crack her defenses, and when I attack, I'm barely holding on when she goes on offense. She's just as unforgiving in pointing out my mistakes as she is in game. Your wall with the ramp to your natural is trash. How the hell do you get away with this? You're asking to get busted. It's not something I really think about that much. I just throw it up, you know? Fix it or be punished. That probably isn't an idle threat. Jet is the type of player capable of ending the game instantly if she can capitalize on the right kind of mistake. Her style has been characterized as both passive and reactive. She takes her time and watches her opponents, patient for the right moment to strike. She only takes a risk if it's calculated in her favor. Given her former success, the style has suited her well. Though I can't help but wonder why she hasn't lately been performing at her previous level. Maybe she's lost her killer instinct? Oh, you remember when Baneling busts were a thing?
Yep.
Guess not. A reminder of that skill difference between us rushes up the ramp to my natural expansion and crushes my wall, as promised. In the aftermath of the destruction, she swarms my base and seizes an easy win. Jet revels in her victory with a predatory smile. Wrecked. Before getting into the next game, I catch sight of a familiar face coming into the cafe. And it's red-haired dude. Huh, isn't that the same guy from last night? Hey, Jet, do you know who that is? I thumb in the stranger's direction as he passes us, his attention occupied by a cell phone screen. Jet trails a look after him, wrinkles her nose, and shrugs. He's a KPGA player. Protoss, what about him? Come on, get into the game already. Seriously? He was at All Out Attack yesterday. What's he doing outside of his team house 2 days in a row? They're only figuratively chained to their desks. Not all of them are shut in. Stop wasting time. Let's go. I double take away from Jet to find the player in question seated a few rows in front of us. And he's got the StarCraft 2 client open. Why would a KPGA player spend his time practicing anything but Brood War? Maybe I should ask him for a game. I think I'm going to ask him for a game. What? No, hold on. Wait, you can't just... Before she can stop me, I rise and shuffle my way past the rows of computers. Jet shoots me a... Mods are asleep post-rack attack. What's up, Shadow Strike the King F? Shadow Strike the King 1. God, blue does not show up well against that black background. But before she can stop me, I shuffle my way past the rows of computers. Jet shoots me a withering glare over the top of her station before ducking back down. God damn it, fuck you.
No, fuck you. I finished my pyramid.
But before she can stop me, I rise and shuffle my way past the rows of computers. Jet shoots me a withering glare over the top of her station before ducking back down. Even though I've barely interacted with the guy, I can't help but feel a little anxious as I edge closer to his PC. Sure, he was a bit rude when we spoke, but the chance to challenge KPGA Pro is too good to pass up, especially if I'm trying to step up my game. He's about to jump into a match when I clear my throat right behind him. He subtly alt-tabs and then turns to regard me through half-lidded eyes. What? Excuse me, would you mind a practice game? No. I'm just here to... He pauses. Recognition floats across his face. You're that chick from All Out Attack yesterday, aren't you? For a moment, he looks ready to dismiss me and get to laddering, but the last second he nods. Alright, one game. With a final nod, I return to my station. A moment later, he and I share a game lobby and are just about ready to begin. He's playing on a barcode account. Typical. How have I still not managed to catch this guy's name? A sharp tap against my headphones announces Jet's return and displeasure. You're obnoxious. If you lose and embarrass me by association, I'm gonna pretend I don't know you. Anything else Jet has to say is drowned out along with the sounds of Golden Zone fire when I pull the earpad back on. Mystery guy. Mystery fact number 1. 4 question marks. Mystery fact number 2. He plays Protoss? Mystery fact number 3, another 4 question marks. If the idea behind practicing against a good player is to improve, I should probably play Standard. Still, the temptation to all-in is always there. How sick would it be to grab a quick win on a KPGA player? I feel like I'm gonna get wrecked if I cheese him. I feel like I'm gonna get wrecked either way.
Yeah.
But she makes a valid point in that the point of practicing against a pro player is to actually practice how to play the game against a pro player and not work on your cheese build.
Then again, those seem to work really well against certain professionals.
Fuck it, we're cheesing him because he's toss. Screw it, I'm not in the mood for macro. I place 2 early barracks mid-map just outside his scouting path. With luck, he won't see my strategy until it's coming at him. My heart pounds as I watch my marine count grow. He still hasn't scouted my all-in. This is a huge advantage. I've got this. Nope. You're also... Oh, God. He's also cheesing us. I bring my Marines to his base and charge up the ramp leading to his high ground. I leave an SCV on the low ground to construct a bunker just in case I have to fall back. He retreats with his lone zealot and begins to chrono boost something out of his gateway, likely a stalker. He still hasn't pulled his probe, so I start heading towards the mineral line. Shit, he preemptively built a handful of probes and hid them out of my vision. With my exit cut off, I won't be able to escape. This might look even worse when he gets his first stalker out. He might actually hold this. I do everything I can to salvage the situation, but it's too late. The single Marine I managed to get into my bunker is useless at this point. From the low ground, I can't do any damage to his units. My attack was completely routed. Even though he didn't scout out the rush, he defended without breaking a sweat. I don't have long to sulk in defeat before the KPGA player makes his way over to me with a smirk. As promised, Jet is nowhere to be seen. That was ugly. The worst part is I don't even disagree with him. Yeah, well, nice micro, I guess. You guess? Well, maybe you're right. Didn't take all that much effort to defend against such a pitiful rush. His grin darkens to one without humor. Is this guy serious? What the hell is your problem? You demand a game and whine when you get a little pushback? Look who's talking. Everyone knows your type. The foreigner out here to make a name for herself. You fly out on a whim and waste 6 weeks of training. You aren't the first and unfortunately won't be the last. Your plane ticket doesn't buy you the right to call yourself a pro gamer. Save your money and time and go back home. I feel the heat rise in my face, half in anger and half in embarrassment. I've never dealt well with confrontation. But before I can say anything else, Jet steps out from around the corner and cuts between the two of us. Still great at making friends, huh, Bolt? He glances between the two of us, surprised. After a moment's pause, the so-called Bolt seizes back his smirk and meets Jet with a step forward. Been a while, hasn't it? What's a supposed Star League champion doing with trash like this? Bolt looks past her and tilts his head toward me. I take a step towards him, but an open palm from Jet stops me from going any further. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised. Jumping ship to a scene bloated with foreign money has its upsides, but I won't be long before you forget the dignity of a pro gamer. The dignity of a pro gamer? You make it sound so distinguished.
They used to date. Calling it now.
You've changed for the worse and you don't even realize it. How sad. Shouldn't be much longer till the KPGA finally accepts that there's no future in Brood War. You're smart enough to know what happens then. But hey, the scene could always use more casters. Oh! Whatever you say. For the record, what excuse did you give your coach for another day off? VIP is a little bit more lax than Shock T1, but I might want to borrow it someday. At that, Bolt scowls. Jet doesn't waste the opening and strikes again. Don't worry, Dongsang. Your secret's safe with me. Run along now. I'm sure you've got coins to flip or something. The standoff lasts a moment longer before Bolt lets out a lazy shrug, instantly killing off the intensity in its expression. I've got better things to do than offer advice to a mouthy chobo. Do whatever you want. He thumbs his nose at me and returns to his station without another word. As soon as Bolt's out of sight, Jet takes my arm in a vice and practically drags me away. What the hell was that? He didn't even scout you. Is this how they play on the NA servers? Yes! Even after a heated confrontation, her concern is with the match before anything else. I almost laugh. It was stupid of me. I thought I could just grab a quick win. Play what you practice, for God's sake. You're gonna go 2 racks in a tournament match? You better be damn sure you've done it 100 times on ladder. Her pointed critique diffuses the tension from moments prior, even if it doesn't exactly make me feel any better. When she's done going through my long list of mistakes, Jet flicks her hand back towards the PCs. Come on, queue up a game against me. I told Jet that I wasn't feeling up to practice after we played a few more one-sided games. She seemed annoyed, but agreed with my suggestion to take a short break. Back in high school, I used to spend most of the time at the library when class was all over. To be honest, this is probably the most time I've willingly spent outside my room since then. I'm not the type to read for fun or study diligently, but it was nice to have a place to go and be on my own. I've missed those afternoons since I graduated. But Golden Zone Fire is a good replacement hangout as I could hope for. It's clean and comfortable and pretty much has everything that I need to stay 24/7. That isn't an exaggeration. Some of the patrons here look practically glued to their chairs. With a milk tea from one of the vending machines in hand, I return to my seat across from Jet. She isn't wearing the same scowl from earlier, but I can tell she'd rather be practicing. What are you drinking? She snatches up a can from across her and takes a long sip. Coffee. What kind of coffee? Coffee is coffee. I don't drink sugary junk. And for the record, it's obnoxious to challenge someone that you don't know to a match. Is it really such a big deal? All I wanted was a practice game. Do you know those types that stream snipe and start shit on message boards so that people pay attention to them? all too well, unfortunately. That's you, except you did it in real life. Bolt's a real tool, though, isn't he? What kind of... what kind of prick... Jet cuts herself off with a hiss and grits her teeth. How do you know him? His name is Bolt? Yeah, he plays for Shock T1. Shock, huh? Bolt must be a new recruit. Haven't paid much attention to them or any other Brood War team since StarCraft 2 came out, but he definitely wasn't on their roster a year ago. Right, how do you know him? Jet clicks her tongue and breaks her gaze away from me. I silently appreciate the reprieve from her death glare. Oh, they dated. If you must know, he and I went to the same middle school. I was in the class above him. Oh, okay. I was thinking he might have knocked you out of a tournament or something. No, never played him in Star League. You don't need to overanalyze everything. Silence followed between us while Jet nurses what remains of her drink. I can't tell if she's really into the coffee or if she's just trying to find something to occupy her lips other than our conversation. I doubt Jet spends much time at PC bangs, even though she's got a team house to practice from. I should consider myself... given that she's got a team house to practice from. I should consider myself lucky that she'd make time to come out here at all. You know, it makes zero sense for you to focus on qualifying for VSL, right? I blinked myself from my thoughts to meet Jet's intense stare. What do you mean? What's the point of us meeting up to practice, then? No, I'm not saying... Listen. I want to round up some players. For what? For VSTL. Team League? But you're already on a team. Yeah. Yeah? She wavers, considering whether or not to tell me what I've already figured out. You're leaving VIP. That ping sound effect. Jet's eyes jumped towards mine, brows raised in surprise and then furrowed in annoyance. She's been on VIP for almost a year and is by far the team's best player. Management barely pays us and nobody is motivated. They're worse than bad, they're complacent. I want a fresh start. Oh, man. Following eSports, like, actually following eSports and actually following eSports pros, like, that is a huge problem. That happens. That shit fucking happens.
All the time.
Like, the worst part is that 99% of management has never been, like, an eSports competitor. Yep. Some former pros get into management. Some.
Esports teams fold faster than Donald Trump can say offensive things.
I thought you were just going to leave that at esports teams fold faster than Donald Trump. Esports teams fold faster than Donald Trump refinances. I'm not guilting you. It just isn't something I expected to hear. Do you have a team house picked out? No, not yet. What about a coach? No. Well, do you have players in mind? Look, it's a work in progress, okay? I edge away from her glare and raise my hands defensively. Alright, sorry, it's not my business. For a while, silence. Jet does her best to avoid eye contact, but I can tell she's thinking hard about something. Just as I'm about to replace my milk tea with another, she speaks. You know about all those new foreign teams popping up recently, right? Yeah, what about them? Isn't it strange? They're worse than almost every Korean squad, and yet most of them have sponsors. Well, there are a lot of esports fans outside of Korea these days. People want to support their hometown heroes. I don't think it's that simple. Where would the money come from if not from the fans? Idiots. What? Idiots. Idiots that call themselves investors. Idiots that throw away money keeping mediocre players afloat because it makes them feel good inside for whatever reason. Stellar Lotus says hi. Well, she and Bolt agree on one thing at least. Okay. Are you gonna find some idiots to sponsor you? No. Well... She takes a long moment to reconsider her answer. No, it wouldn't work out in the end. What I'm getting at is that this is too much... What I'm getting at is that too much of our scene ignores the foreign fan base. It's a huge mistake. Well, there's the time zone difference and the language barrier. I also don't know if you know this, but a lot of foreign fans don't find Korean players entertaining. What? How dare you? That's ridiculous. I'm just relaying common knowledge. Don't hold me accountable for the opinions of Silver Leaguers. Most Western fan support goes to the people who entertain well. Streamers, casters, those kinds of people. Isn't it so fucking true, though?
Shoutouts to Winter.
Shout out
Viewbots.
Or God, who's oh, is it Destiny? No, who's that asshole that he like got into it with? I know he got into it with Destiny for a while.
I don't remember.
But yeah, no, I actually kind of stopped watching him because he stopped doing so much GM stuff. Like I got into him for his educational commentary, and then I just kind of backed off. Like, and then I got really into it when he was really into GM, and then once his like passion changed back to teaching from getting GM, I was like, I don't think I care anymore.
Once his passion got back into, printing money with the view bots and the subscribers.
I was gonna say the funny thing is like as much as that goes around, like Twitch has verified him that he does not have view bots. So
I don't know. I think Twitch just lets him skate because he's got subscribers. You know how they let partners skate on fucking anything.
yeah, it's one of those things, and like, okay, so everybody talks mad shit because it's like, how are there 3K people in here and nobody's talking? It's like, I don't know. How are there 3K people in a lot of streams that I watch and nobody's fucking talking? How are there 1,000 people watching Li Joe and fucking nobody's talking? Like,
How are there 300 people watching Team Spooky and everyone's blowing up the
oh
chat?
my god! It's so true though. It's basically just like the level is esports events and then like FGC. Streams chat is a fucking blow up. Everything else, stream chat is generally dead.
I would say specifically East Coast FGC because I've tuned into some level up, Wednesday night streams and stuff.
Dude,
And,
Vaya's Rushdown Live is even like dead. Like when he solo streams, man, it's a fucking snooze fest.
yeah, because he's all about that professional shit.
I know. Dirty East.
Spooky keeps it real.
You know who else keeps it like pretty fucking real? Mondo.
Yeah.
Gotta give that guy major credit. In addition to the fact that, yo, have you watched Laggy Perry Fridays?
No, I haven't.
That shit. Okay, so Mondo being Mondo, he's like hooked up with all the stream gear, right?
Yeah.
He is live streaming PSN Third Strike Lobby, Xbox Live Third Strike Lobby, and has a tiny little square down on the bottom for Fightcade lobbies. He is triple streaming Third Strike. The Third Strike is what counts. So, back to the fake esports world. Most famous players in your scene aren't the best? That's appalling. Hey, Brood War got popular on the backs of boys that looked good on camera. That's practically the same thing. If the PC bang was the ship, then the fangirls pulled the oars. Okay. Let me be completely honest. I don't even remember why I started watching Brood War. Like, why I got into watching competitive Brood War. Like, that just became a thing at one point. Was it Spirit Juice? No, I am 90% certain that Hell Monkey was into, like, competitive SC, and, like, I pulled it up and started watching it one day, and I was like, holy fucking shit. And then, next thing I knew, I was staying up to 6 in the morning to watch, like, OSL finals. But the American casters for Brood War, like, the American... And I'm not talking about, like, Tastosis. I'm talking like the American ghetto casters that are like live streaming, that are watching the GOM TV live streams with Korean commentary, muting the streams, and then broadcasting their voices over Ventrilo because that's how ghetto rigged this shit was before Twitch had ever like been a fucking glint in its parents' eye. Like, way back in the day, some of those guys were legit. And, like, the best part about it was this wasn't just coast to coast. Like, the people that made, like, the SC2GG cast crew were fucking global. Like, it would be, like, 2 o'clock in the morning here. I'm getting ready to watch, a tournament. And I think Klazart was probably finishing breakfast in Ireland.
Wow.
Yeah. Klazart is my all-time favorite English-speaking Brood War commentator. Because, to this date, I have not watched an esport with an esport commentator that could talk faster than that guy. So, other shoutouts to to old school Brood War stuff. Moletrap, Diggity, and Quasart, and whoever ended up running the Vilatak account until it pretty much just died.
Other classy lines and Panzer models. Oh, come on, I'm from New Zealand. I can get at least three full-length feature films out of the premise alone. Just throw in some panoramic mountain views. Top men.
Okay, I have to play that game. Not the same thing. They were pretty skilled, or they were pretty and skilled, not one or the other. And show some damn respect. Those boys are the only reason that you or I are even able to have this conversation. The sharp response and equally sharp glare suggest that I shouldn't argue the point. Jet knows better than I do anyway. We're getting off topic. There are tons of potential fans and most Korean teams ignore simply because they're too hard to connect with. Yeah, I agree. She lifts an eyebrow and stares at me for just a bit too long before glancing away. If I wasn't sure before, I am now. Go on? Go on and what? I know what you're thinking. No, you don't. Yes, I do. What am I thinking then? You want me to join a new team you want me to join a new team that you're starting so that I can help you with the foreign fan base. Also, you invited me here to try out under the guise of practice. Jet slumps back in her seat, defeated. I fight a losing battle against the urge to laugh. Don't look so smug. Ugh, I hate dealing with team management. You could hire a manager. Before we have any players, maybe I should just keep my head down and practice. No, don't do that. It's a good idea. You're only saying that because I gave you an offer. Partially, but if you go through with this, I'll do whatever I can to help. How dare you be the one convincing me to go after my own idea? Damn it. She chews on her lip, likely considering the harrowing risk of leaving her team.
StarCraft 2VN. How I accidentally became a manager of the Korean eSports team. That's the road this is going down.
Right?
I suck too much to play. I am the manager. I'm captain now.
I can't make any commitments until we at least have some other players. It'd be stupid for me to move out of the VIP house without everything lined up. This is something I've been thinking about for a while, even if I don't have every detail hashed out yet. I want to keep overhead low and practice time high, lean and mean. She aims a finger at me, her dull nails a hair's breadth before my nose. If you're going to be part of this, you're going to pull your weight. You can start by searching for our players, unless you'd rather find me a coach and sponsor. I cringe backwards and raise my hands. No, I'll leave that to you. Good. It'll work out better this way. The minimum number of players for Team League is 4, so you need to find at least 2. You know, this isn't exactly how I envisioned that I'd join a StarCraft team. Walk away if you like. You have a long way to go if you want to be anything other than our translator mascot anyway. Damn. I'll admit, Excel was right. I see glimpses of high-level stuff in your play. But as of right now, you kinda suck, even by foreigner standards, offense intended. You seriously need to start busting your ass. Coming to Korea is pointless if you're practicing in if you're still practicing Western hours. Well, nobody ever claimed that Jet wasn't honest. If I'm going to work for you and everyone else, if I'm going to work you and everyone else like dogs, this team comes together. I won't be happy with placing anything less than first in VSTL. I can read, I swear to God. Well, I appreciate the chance. I offer a smile that she's quick to match. If we're going ahead with this, I've got a lot of stuff to do. The deadline to register for team leagues is in 2 weeks, so we can't afford to waste time. Get moving on your search. Alright, good luck. I'll catch you online. Yeah, later. When she's gone, I fall back into my chair and take a deep breath. Jet just asked me to join her team. I pinch my forearm and judge the sensation that follows. With that, my disbelief dissolves into contemplation. How the hell am I going to find 2 worthwhile, unsigned players? A mixture of guilt and pride lead me to spend the rest of the day at Golden Zonefire. Between ladder games and a break for dinner, I scoped out the cafe's best StarCraft players. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like any of Golden Zonefire's regular patrons are much to write home about. They were good players, There were good players there for all-out attacks, sure, but today, most of the cafe's patrons were playing Brood War, and of the ones that were actually laddering in StarCraft 2, there was only a single guy in Master League. He. I'll have to extend my search outside of a single PC bang. I guess it had been a little too convenient to find VSL caliber players so easily. I get the urge to stop at a convenience store on the way back to my apartment. There's one I've been going to regularly for my nightly fix of sugar and caffeine. The store's blindingly bright signage is visible from more than a block away. Green capital letters spell out the store's name in an English backdrop of white. Go Mart.
Go Mart.
Yep. The door's familiar chime welcomes me, and the same clerk I've seen at least a dozen times before stands formally behind a cash register. He looks a bit old to be working still. Maybe he owns the place and doesn't have help to work with the night shift? Help to work the night shift? I see myself standing behind a counter in that unwanted mental image. It's a fate that could easily await me if I failed to make it as a professional gamer. I shake my head free of the thought and make my way to the refrigerated section of the store to fill my fists with cans and bottles. Some of the drinks may have strange names, but I'll be damned if they aren't good. I drop them on the counter in front of the old man and briefly make eye contact with him. He seems to recognize me, but doesn't say anything to indicate it. He rings up my drink slowly, not from age or calluses, but because he's in no great rush. The store's empty aside from me, after all. 6,000 won? I swipe my credit card in the reader and depart with a polite smile, anxious to return to my apartment. The clerk returns the expression and watches me go without another word. That was a completely pointless encounter. The only top-tier player I'm on speaking terms with is Excel, but how would I even approach the subject of getting him to leave his team for a new and untested one? Maybe it would be better for me to simply get a lead from him. If I can't manage that, then I'm left to scour out local PC bangs and message boards on my own. Whatever, I'll figure this out tomorrow. And you had to convince her? Seriously? She's been talking this up to me for the past 2 months. It's a big change, plus I just met you guys. I'd be hesitant too. Huh. Axel grins. No doubt he's replaying Jet's angst in his mind's eye. Getting in at the ground floor is a major plus. You were in the right place at the right time. If it works out, that is. Excel glances over his shoulder before returning his attention to me. Most teams barely pay their players anything. I've got it good for someone my age, but even I have part of my winnings taken for the team's benefit. Ouch. Luckily for Westerners, that isn't a trend that's caught on outside of South Korea.
Triforce says hi.
I was gonna... Well, overall, in eSports, I mean, granted, this was Wings of Liberty, and we're in 2015 now.
2016.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back in 2004?
Yeah.
Oh, Justin, you won? You're buying everyone ravioli for the next month? I still can't believe that video got taken down. Of Justin's last visit to the Ark before he left for the West Coast, where he's like giving away like ramen noodles and ravioli to people.
That's funny. You know what vid is still up, though? Pick a top tier.
Yeah.
Tired of working for the money. I want the money to work for me.
Back when L.I. Joe still had hair.
Oh my god, was that him in that video?
Yeah.
Jesus
It was
Christ.
Javits, L.I. Joe, Sanford, and I think Arturo's in there for a bit too.
I need to go back and watch that. So... I can't do it. It's impossible. The words simply will not come. What? Oh... Excel lets out a laugh, genuine and highly amused. He tries to get his words out, and unlike me, eventually ends up succeeding. Sorry, Mock, but no can do. I'm signed with Crash until the end of the year. I'm not allowed to play for anyone else until my contract is up. As I expected. Really, it shouldn't come as a surprise. I sigh, fall back into my chair, and rest my palms atop my head. I had to ask. Jet's expecting me to pick up our players while she handles the management and sponsorship side of things. Hey, well, I can help you with the next best thing. I'd be thankful for any help at all. Don't you worry, I've got a short list of easy pickups, an extremely short list. He clears his throat. There's only one person on it, but hey, better than nothing, right? It's Bolt.
It's gonna be... Yeah.
Who is it? Ooh, straight to business. Eager for your bunk bed, I see. Trust me, Mock, you'll want the bottom bunk. You know from experience? Sure do. When I was 16, some up-jumped Brood War clan scraped me from the bottom of their barrel and set me up in their overcrowded sweatshop of a team house. Had to sleep above someone at least 2 years past a graceful retirement. I've seen solitaire players with better APM. He snored. A lot. As horrible as he's trying to make it seem, Excel sounds closer to wistful than bitter as he recounts the first years as a professional gamer. What happened to the team? Sponsor flaked, team didn't have the money for legal action. Coach didn't tell us until 20 minutes before rent was due. Someone stole my mouse pad as we were moving out, and that was the end of my StarCraft career. Wait, no, it kept going for 7 years after that and somehow still wasn't over. I always forget that part. This fucking guy! Get a load of this guy!
What an asshole!
Excel, top Korean Terran, master storyteller. Anyway, this guy's name is Stunt. He plays Protoss, pretty good. But... Does there have to be a but? I'm sensing a but. It's a small but. He's incredibly cheesy and maybe a touch arrogant, and he's a high schooler. But he's good. Why haven't any other teams picked him up in that case? He shrugs, letting out the feeling that Excel genuinely doesn't know, but I'm left anxious nonetheless. Still, it's important to have at least some kind of racial distribution on the team. Not in terms of foreign or Korean, mind you, but rather Zerg, Protoss, Terran. Do you know how I could get in touch with him? I could give you his info for a friend request, but he'd probably block you or something on the assumption that you're a gold seller. Your best bet is to find him in person at Stomping Grounds. His Stomping Grounds? Where do you mean? Where? No, Stomping Grounds. That's the name of the PC bang he's usually at. Ugh, another trek across Seoul. I'd never heard of the place, much less been to it. Excel takes note of my frown and wags a finger at me. What, you fly halfway across the world and can't be bothered to walk for half an hour? Take the subway if you're that lazy. No, it's fine. I shouldn't expect it to be this easy. Now we're talking. Get going. I'll keep an eye out for your next player in the meantime. I checked the map on my phone for the second time after reading a sign for a third. This is definitely Stomping Grounds. A deep breath calms my nerves. Seconds later, I push open the glass door and make my way inside. Pretty much as expected. Computers, vending machines, tables, and the sound of 24 mice and keyboards. PC bangs are nothing if not similar to one another. When a shiver runs down my back, I realize that the AC in here is cranked up ridiculously high. I read somewhere that casinos pump extra oxygen to keep their patrons awake and alert. True fact. Maybe this place has tried to adapt the same tactic to their cafe? A middle-aged woman sits behind the front desk. She glances up at me when I pass by and then returns her attention to the magazines played out in front of her.
Hashtag Las Vegas, hashtag 2015.
Yup. Dude, I knew even before that, when I took my first trip to Vegas for Interbike with my boss and our mechanic at the time, we went to bed at 4 a.m., we were up at 6.
Yeah, no, I knew it too. I pulled some crazy hours that week.
Dude, there was that day where you, like, didn't fucking go to bed and you came back, like, an hour before finals.
No, it was like, as finals were starting.
Yeah. A quick scan of heads lined up in front of monitors offers me a few potential stunts amidst the sea of scrubs. By Excel's description, he's short and has bleached hair. I'm able to narrow it down quickly and confirm his identity with a look at his monitor. He's in the middle of a ladder match, and he's playing StarCraft 2 with one hand. The other is occupied with a game on his cell phone. All the same, Stunt's crushing his opponent with a rush build, and by the look on his face, he takes great pleasure in that fact. His enemy sends a salty one-liner before dropping out of the game without a GG. Stunt grins wide and puts his hands behind his head, satisfied. After checking the post-game stats, he glances over his shoulder and then spins his chair around to find me watching him. Sup? Something you want? Yeah, you're Stunt, right? That's me. And who are you? I'm Mock. Stunt lights up, stands upright, and plants his hands on his hip all at once. Right, the foreigner that Excel messaged me about. Was starting to think that you wouldn't show up. Let's get this bet match going. Hey everyone, the bet match is on! And then Zealot sound effects. What? Damn it. Really, Excel? Before I can attempt an explanation, a crowd of 6 or 7 middle school-aged kids forms behind Stunt. I don't see myself talking my way out of this. Bet match, right? That's me. Yes, that's what I'm here for. A foreign girl is going up against Stunt? Is this a bet match or a donation? When will they learn? He's the cafe's best player. Hey, Stunt, will you buy me a juice with your winnings? Stun ignores the peanut gallery and takes a step forward, sizing me up. Judging by his appearance, he looks like he just started high school. I'm almost a head taller than him. Excel said you were down for 15,000 won bet, but come on, you can do better than that, right? How much were you thinking? 25,000 is much better number, wouldn't you say? Come on, you had to drag your ass all the way over here to play. Let's make it interesting. That's what, $20 or so? I'd have to skip a few trips to Go-Mart, but I can't risk having him turn me down. Okay, fine, 25,000, but what are we gonna do about maps? Best of 3? Nah, best of 1 is fine. My time's too valuable, and in a show of good faith, you can pick the map. Excel wasn't kidding about this kid's cockiness. Whatever, at least I can choose a map without with a long rush distance. You're gonna get proxied, bitch! I find a seat at a computer nearby, so though not so close that we could catch a glimpse at each other's screen. A locked window stares back at me as I sit down. Of course I need to pay to use the PC, but before I can head back to the front desk, Stunt slides in front of me and takes the mouse. Yo, I got it. Consider it an investment for the money you're about to give me. He unlocks the machine with a few clicks and the entry of a password. Huh, that works. After I thank him, he slinks back over to his setup. Stunt shares a few confident words with the underage crowd behind him and then throws his headphones on. I host up a game and toss him an invite. It's not long after that I'm staring down at my base and 6 workers. Cannons, 2-gate, 4-gate, blink, proxy robo, proxy stargate. There are a dozen different ways that Stunt could end this game early. Stunt, young, untrained talent, favors unorthodox play, bad taste in hair dye. As a precaution, I scout the interior of my base to ensure that I'm not being cannon rushed. As I discover, I am. Just outside my vision range and dangerously close to my worker line, a cannon finishes building. Some losses and a defense are inevitable, but if I handle it well, it should put me ahead of Stunt. It's gutsy of him to risk a best of 1 on a strategy like this. Practically all I have to do is scout it to score a victory. By microing injured SCVs away from cannon shots, I'm able to end their rush at a low cost. In truth, it seemed like an exceptionally weak attack. Was Excel hyping this kid up for nothing? I end up only losing 3 of my workers, but by the time his single cannon is dead. Now, where's that probe? There it is. With his probe down, there's no way he'll be able to drop down any more cannons. You're locked in, aren't you? Still, he's probably planning his next move. I have to decide what comes next. If he's transitioning to something standard, this would be the perfect time to counterattack. He's not! Proxy gates! His tech has to be lacking, so there's no way he'll have strong enough units to defend a marine attack. And while it seems incredibly unlikely, there's always a chance that he might have another attack ready. If I want to err on the side of caution, I should stay in my base and simply tech up, but that might give him enough time to get back into the game. I should make this call based on what I know about his playstyle. It was too easy, and Excel hyped this kid up.
Yeah.
We've got to stay on the defensive, because it ain't easy being cheesy.
Yeah. I concur.
If,
1 cannon is not a true rush.
no, like I'm imagining you drop that pylon and that cannon. If that was it, like you ran into another corner and like double proxy gated or something.
Yeah.
Even though I'm giving up a chance to win the game immediately, the safe thing to do is tech up to dropships. But it looks like I won't need to. My precautionary scout uncovers an ambush waiting in the dark corner of my base. Called it! With more than enough units and space to micro my marines, I dispatch his zealots with barely any losses. Cannon rush feint in a proxy gate? Absolutely ridiculous. With his rush scouted, Stunt quits out of the game without a GG. Get wrecked! I won, with surprising ease, too. Stunt pushes through the dumbfounded crowd and comes stomping over, fury in his eyes. He really didn't expect to lose. You blindly scout in the smoke in your base after a cannon rush? Are you kidding me? Who does that? I raise my hands defensively and skirt away from the victory screen splashed across my monitor. Whoa, 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 calm down. It takes like 5 seconds, and you have a reputation for those kinds of builds, you know. He makes a disgruntled sound and stares hard at me. You got lucky. What are you yelling back there for? Didn't I tell you to sweep up the back room an hour ago? Stop screaming at our customers and go do something useful. Lord have mercy. Without warning... Oh, well, that was the wrong kind of voice. Without warning, the woman at the front desk paints Stunt a bright red from across the room. She glares at him for a moment longer before ducking back behind the counter. Talk about lousy bosses. His anger replaced with modesty, Stunt scratches behind his head. The middle schoolers have mostly dispersed, evidently destroyed by the cruel realization that their Protoss god can bleed. Sorry, that's my mom. Anyway, you beat me. Let me go get your cash. His mom? Ugh, even worse. I guess I can see the resemblance, minus the bleached hair. Explains how he unlocked my PC, at least. Actually, wait, I didn't come here for a bet match. What? But we just played one. I don't have to pay you then? What? No, I'm recruiting for a new team. Excel mentioned that you were a free agent, and I wanted to see if you'd join up. I guess he thought it'd be funny to trick me into a bet match with you. A foreign team? Why didn't you just send me a message or something? No, a Korean one. Excel said you'd probably assume I was a fangirl and block me, although I get the feeling that was just an excuse for this whole setup. Couldn't we have just kept this simple? What if I had lost? Stunt pauses and reaches for his phone. Distracted or no, he manages to carry on the conversation. Nah, blocking you sounds like something I'd do. Anyways, who else have you got? We've got... Wait, is Jet still technically on VIP? Can I tell him that she's planning to leave? What if he tells someone? Why didn't I think of this ahead of time? You've got... We've got some good players about to sign and a sponsor in the works. Nothing official. We're keeping everything under wraps until then. Sounds sketchy. Mysterious sponsor and mystery players. He doesn't seem convinced. I can hardly blame him. This sort of thing is unfortunately common in esports. But Excel did vouch for you. That's worth something. And you beat me, the future... the future Protoss... Bonjour? Holy shit. Help? Bonjour, the Korean term for a player who dominates the StarCraft scene for a long period of time. A Bonjour has a very high win rate and successive championship wins. So far, StarCraft's only Bonjours have been Terran and Zerg players. LOL! Once we've got 4 players and some management, we're going to pick out a team house. You'll need to live and practice with us. I blink once, look away, and take a tactile pause. If your mom will let you move out, that is. He rises to my bait and straightens up, both fists clenched. You're damn right she's gonna let me! Alright, consider me signed. If I've got a room and enough money to pay for food, we're in business! Stunt pauses and lowers himself from the tips of his toes. What's the team called, by the way? Like I said, it's a work in progress. We'll let you know when it's picked out. If we're not named yet, I want a say in it. How about Azure Blaze Phoenix Snipers? What even... What even? This kid, this isn't a shonen anime. Yeah, probably not. While Stunt revels in the afterglow of being signed to a StarCraft team, though, a thought occurs to me. What was that?
This kid's got a better chance of naming that team than Mighty Number 9 does releasing anytime this decade.
Oh! Wait, don't you go to school? Let's just say I'm in between schools right now. I don't bother trying to divulge any further information. If he can live in the team house and perform, that's good enough for me. Some promising young pros deferred school for Brood War back in the day, and if StarCraft doesn't work out for him, at least he's got a future in cleaning up stomping grounds. Right, the mysteries won't last for long, I promise. I'll be in touch if you need to show up somewhere. Cool. I'm gonna hit you up for practice games tonight if that's cool. Be online. Sounds good. Welcome aboard. The fiery Protoss player lifts his chin for a final grin before heading into one of the PC Bang's back rooms, probably to gather a broom and dustpan. I grace Stunt's mom with an innocent expression on my way out. She answers my smile with a glare sharp enough to make the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I step outside and suck in a deep breath, relieved. The warm afternoon air is sweet and feels good in my lungs. One down. The stairway to my apartment was empty as usual. Sometimes it feels like I'm the only person living in this building. Isolation was a major concern when I first started thinking about coming overseas. If my Korean wasn't passable, it'd practically be impossible for me to be anything but lonely. Neither sad, nor mighty, nor complete. Ruthless. That's something I don't need to worry about anymore, I suppose. Seoul's proven to be vibrant, crowded, and busy. Everything my life back home wasn't. Something as simple as crossing the street can be exciting for someone who's never been in an urban environment for more than a few hours at a time. It sounds stupid, but it's true. Okay, that leads me to believe that this person is from back, is from the Midwest, because what else is there to do in the Midwest besides play video games?
They could be from the Northeast and not New York.
I suppose? Still,
I speak from experience.
Still, before meeting Excel and Jet, I barely talked to anyone offline. StarCraft's one-on-one nature doesn't exactly lend itself to social introductions. It'd be easy to get in touch with the foreigner community out here, but I have very little desire to skulk around bars with jaded English teachers and washed-up businessmen. Why bother? I sink into my chair and jam the spacebar a few times to wake up my PC. I've practiced enough at Golden Zone Fire after recruiting Stunt, so I don't bother loading up StarCraft. Jet was pleased to hear about my new pickup. She told me it was smart to hold off on telling Stunt who she was, too. I'm sure she'll announce her plans on her own time. She'll have to once we picked up our last player, at any rate. With a few clicks, I'm staring at a common StarCraft fan site. The most interesting stuff that goes on in the scene gets posted here, and what people vote as best rises to the top of the page. Welcome to Reddit, boys!
I don't know. It depends how old this game is. It might be Dig.
I don't know. Wings of Liberty? Pro Scene?
Yeah, it could have been Dig back then.
I was gonna say Korea's the real place, which means IPL is dead. I don't often visit the Korean community sites. I like them just fine, but I prefer to read English when I get the chance. But no matter where you choose to get your StarCraft news, you'll find no shortage of netizens sure in their opinions on which player is awful or why the game is imbalanced. This has been true for 10 years. Oh my god, it's just straight up like a bad Reddit screenshot. Today seems to be no exception. A foreign pro gamer just called it quits, and the comments about him are ridiculously scathing. Lamau, good riddance. Dude was washed up anyway. Left the scene without a GG. Typical.
Oh, is that when Idra retired?
Sure, he was underperforming recently, but people forget just how much time and passion gets put into even a mediocre professional career. The worst part is that most of the people talking smack are either low leaguers or don't play the game at all. So fucking true for everything. This is why I avoid talking... I try to avoid talking shit. I definitely avoid talking shit on public forums or to anyone's face.
I don't.
My last name also isn't Fiasco.
I was gonna say I played Marvel too, so
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
I take out my phone, hoping to find something on it to distract me from the mindless masses. No texts, no new emails, same as when I last checked 15 minutes ago. Welcome to my workday. It's been a while since I've chatted with any of my friends back home. Most of them know about my eSports aspirations, but none of them really get it. There's two reactions when someone learns you play video games full-time. Either they roll their eyes or they tell you how lucky you are. I've tried to explain to the latter that playing StarCraft really isn't fun in the traditional sense. Winning can be satisfying, but the game is too stressful to actually be called fun, at least for me. It beats a boring minimum wage job, but it sure as hell isn't easy and pays less for all but the best. Yeah, they don't mention that between games on Star League streams. Pretty much everyone I went to high school with is enrolled in college. When I hear about their great social lives and internships, I can't help but feel jealous. I'll probably end up going eventually. It's not like I can make a living from games when I'm 30. 5 or 6 years of StarCraft, and then you're left with the dregs of your prize money and sore wrists, and hopefully some friends and fond memories. With a look back at the computer screen, I notice my inbox has a message awaiting. A click and I'm staring at a piece of hate mail, one of several I've already received this month. It's a Twitch PM, and the guy's name is XXEdgelord97. Okay, whoever wrote this game, like, really knows the online community. Haven't streamed in a while, I noticed. Did you finally realize people only watch you? Why don't you get good and come back once you actually win something? And I don't know why you keep bother blocking me. I'm going to keep making new accounts no matter what. Wow! It's something I've had to deal with for pretty much my entire life, but things really amped up when my stream hit 500 viewers for the first time. Wow, 500 whole viewers. How old was Twitch at this point? A couple of months? There's not much to say other than that I'm used to this sort of thing by now. I quit streaming to focus on improving for my own sake, not for the idiots that send me shit like this. At least that's what I tell myself. It's hard to know for sure. Most of the people who follow StarCraft know less about the game itself than they do about the people playing it. I don't like that I'm expected to constantly bear the scrutiny of strangers. The community is what keeps the scene alive. I know it's wrong to loathe it, but simply knowing that doesn't make it any easier not to. Scrub quotes. With an impatient click, my PC groans off. I climb under my sheets and settle in for an early night's rest. The search continues tomorrow. I wake to the sound of rain against my window. Judging by the light, it's morning. It dawns on me that I was supposed to play stunt in a few practice games last night. Whoops, probably not a great move to blow off the player I just recruited. Breakfast this morning is cold as usual, or at least since I took a chance on some street food. It's actually pretty good, but I ended up sick for a few days. I've stuck with cereal in the morning since then. Hope everything is working out on Jet's end. Good management and even a single sponsor will take us a long way. All I can do is focus on the task at hand, finding talent. I put away my bowl for once I've emptied it and locked my apartment on the way out. My jacket's hood held up against the rain for most of the way, but my hair ended up soaked in the end. I shake my head dry once I'm inside, much to the annoyance of the guy at the Golden Zone Fire's front desk. The cafe is largely empty on most weekdays, at least before school's let out. With a bit of searching, I find Excel reclined drowsily in a computer chair that he must have wheeled over to the lounge area. I'll bet he'd rather be sleeping at the Crash Team house, but Excel said he didn't have time to meet me any later. He yawns and waves me over. I pull up a chair from a nearby PC and sit beside him, plenty to choose from when this place is empty. Did they not have umbrellas outside of Korea? No, everyone just usually sprints from place to place if it rains. So anyway, stunt agreed? Yeah, it'll make the next pickup even easier since I've actually got another player to point to. I wish Jet would hurry up and ditch her team already. Excel raises an eyebrow and shakes his head at me. She can't do that yet. Jet has a contract. It has to be over soon though, right? Why else would she be putting together a team if she wouldn't be able to play on it? They vary, but most contracts last either 6 months or a year. Best case scenario, she'll be free at the end of the month. That makes sense. The Victory Star League won't let anyone without a contract play without their team's approval. But maybe there's no rule against registering ahead of time? Whatever, I'm sure that Jet has this figured out already. I'm not! Right, anyways, oh fuck. Skip that last one. Yep, guy named Reva. Flits in and out of top 8 on the ladder. He's won at least a dozen online tournaments this year. Wow, what race does he play? Here's the best part. He plays all 3. His Terran is his strongest, but he's been known to switch between races during a long set. He'll even play random. That's not legal anymore.
What, playing random?
No, playing random is legal, but changing races during sets is not.
Oh.
Once you sign up as a race, you are locked into that race for the tournament. However, once you lock into random, you are probably a different race every single game.
Yeah.
Reva plays Zerg, Terran, and Protoss? Whoa, that sounds too good to be true. But this is where it gets weird. He's never turned up to a tournament in person, only plays online. Some people speculate that Reva's just an alias for a top player. I'm not convinced, though. He's got a very specific playstyle. It's almost like playing against highly advanced AI. Strong mechanically, but only goes for standard macro games. So how am I going to get in touch with him? Other teams have to have gone for a player that good. It won't be easy, but I've got a plan. Not another bet match, please. It worked, didn't it? No, not this time. Revan's on a mean win streak in the online King of the Hill. 12 wins in a row. Granted, most of his games have been against foreigners. It's based in Europe, so it's at a weird hour for us. Point is, you're gonna enter tonight. Tonight? So I beat him and then use that to convince him to join the team? Hold on, I didn't say anything about beating him. I mean, if you do, I'm not gonna complain. You're gonna play an honorable macro game. Revan hates anything that's non-standard. Cheeses, rushes, aggressive timings, all-ins, one-base builds, that sort of thing. So you're gonna play a slow, economy-based game instead. But if I play a game that's the exact style he's used to, I won't get stomped? Won't I get stomped? Maybe, but it's your only chance to get on his good side. Play him, show off your skill, chat him up, and recruit him. You make it sound so easy. Hey, find your own players if you don't like it. I'm sure there are tons of strategy forum scrubs willing to try out. He does have a point. Guess I'm staying in tonight. Fair enough. By the way, what are you so busy with this afternoon? Team League practice. Gotta drill a Zerg of ours to snipe the Team Kane Terran Ace. The match is half a week away. Until then, practice, practice, practice. That's how we do it. Beneath his easy facade, I can tell that Excel doesn't seem too pleased by the circumstance. Right then, any final tips against Reva before I go for practice for tonight? Yeah, hope you like mech. It's all I can do not to groan. My favorite. The admin said it shouldn't be more than 5 minutes now. Reva just got finished extending his record to 13 wins. I'm already warmed up from practicing all day, so there's no point of loading up a map to drill my micro or anything like that. The only thing I've got to focus on before the game is my build and my nerves. Most players, myself included, tend to get a little bit jittery before a high-stakes match. It's a more serious issue at live events with all the lights and cameras and cheering and fans, but it can happen in an online setting just as easily. King of the Hill. This King of the Hill is broadcast on a commentated live stream. The channel hosting it isn't particularly popular, but the exposure can't hurt. Unless I get beat really, really badly. Looks like this game is getting started. In the pre-game lobby, Reva remains utterly silent even after I offer her a friendly GLGL. Whatever, let's get this going. Reva. Grinds out opponents with mech. Can play all 3 races. Could easily be a hacker. Alright, time to show Reva and everyone else that's watching what I'm made of. I'm watching my scout across the map when the sudden thought occurs to me, if this guy supposedly hates rushes, shouldn't I be able to score I should be able to score a pretty easy win against him with one. There's a specific proxy build that works really well on this map, especially against the type of player that Excel described Reva as. I might risk angering the person I'm trying to recruit, though. Still, the game is being broadcast online. If I win, there's a chance that I could earn enough cred to find another player anyway. Do I really want to go against Excel's advice? It's only one game after all. Do not snag the quick win, you dumb bitch.
Yeah.
Hunker down. This is gonna suck. It's not like I hate playing standard or anything. It's just that I don't like that I'm playing straight into this guy's strong point. Whatever. As expected, the game begins with a long calm. Reva shows absolutely no sign of early aggression, instead focusing entirely on building a strong economy. I use the breathing room to invest heavily into structures for tank production. My scout reveals that Reva's doing the same thing. Just as Excel said, looks like it's going to be a long, drawn-out tank v tank positioning war. Oh, good! Wings TVT! Reva and I split the map in half, one side littered with his bases, defensive structures, and tanks, and one side with mine. I'm not particularly comfortable with this style of play. I prefer an agile army accompanied by dropships, but it's next to impossible to break a meching Terran if they have a strong economy. Whoa, shit, I'm under attack. Rev is inching his tank line toward the center of the map. He's managed to find a weak position in my formation. One of my tanks was a bit too far away from the rest, and it got picked off. Oh, that was a fun sound. A nuke? In a serious game? Not here. Not here either. Where's the nuke? Shit, I need to catch it before I lose my army. Boom, there's the ghost. And the missile lands anyway. Oh. Okay, can't screw this up. I pop up in a chat box and fire off a message. Your macro's too good, lol lol. For a while, no response, but just when I've given up hope that he'll message me back. Thank you. You play well. You only made a few key mistakes. Perfect capitalization and grammar? Ugh, whenever anyone does this to me, I feel obligated to fix up my typing. Screw it, I'm way too tired after 40 minutes of positional play. Oh yeah? Well thanks. I'm actually looking for some practice partners, kinda. Kind of? How? Well, I'm starting a team with a few friends. We're gonna try to qualify for Team League. I see. I'm actually looking to pick up another player ATM. Would you be interested? For almost 10 seconds, nothing, but each second ticking by feels longer than the last. But then... I'm willing to discuss the possibility. Oh, awesome. We're gonna meet up at Golden Zone Fire tomorrow afternoon. You're in Seoul, yeah? You know where it is? Oh, you wish to meet in person? Come on, I've already come this far. Keep it together. Yeah, just gonna hang with the team and practice a bit. We're nice, I swear. Another pause, this time longer. I find myself drawing closer and closer to the screen in anticipation of Reva's reply. Very well. I will see you and your teammates at Golden Zone Fire tomorrow. How do you suggest I find you? KK, look for the foreigner, lol. I will do so. Goodbye. With that, Reva exits our channel and prepares for his next King of the Hill match. Did I do it? Did I recruit our last player? Can I celebrate yet? No, better to wait. I mean, he's never been to an event in person before. There's a chance that he won't show. I step out of my chair and fall onto my bed, simultaneously tired and restless. I shut my eyes, but there's no way I'm going to sleep tonight, with this hanging over my head. Maybe I should go to Gomart. It's not a good idea to drink caffeinated stuff this late at night, but a walk might get my mind off the stress. Since meeting Excel and Jet, the pangs of homesickness haven't been nearly as bad. Should I feel guilty that I only want to update my old friends or my parents now that I've actually got something going my way? Is it better to keep these small victories to myself? When was the last time I even spoke English? I honestly can't remember. I've never had to move around or switch schools when I was a kid, but maybe this is the same thing. You find a group and stick with it. Keeping in touch with your old friends becomes too difficult. Could be a good thing. More focus on making my eSports career work than on what so-and-so switched his major to. I can't help but feel a little unsure. Putting my old life down isn't easy, knowing that I'll have to pick it back up eventually. My thoughts of home fade as the green and white signage comes into view. The old man behind the counter is as always, this time restocking the shelf on his side beneath the cash register. Please tell me that the fucking clerk is Revan. Or Reva.
That's what I was thinking.
Because he's like the only NPC that's gotten like a visual animation that like wasn't a player so far. I take my usual fare from the refrigerators in the back of the store and step up to the counter. The clerk's haggard eyes linger on me for a moment before he returns to his shelf stocking. Just a moment. I'm in no rush, so I answer him with a nod. I let the drinks rest on the laminated counter and turn to take a closer look at the convenience store. It's compact and clean, like pretty much everything else in Seoul. If it has any employees other than the old man on duty, I don't see them. Most stores don't have foreign snacks or drinks aside from their localized variants, and Go-Mart is no exception to that. I've had to be bold in trying new food. Just as I'm about to step forward towards a bag of strange-looking trail mix, the clerk's voice sounds from behind. You've been in here quite often, haven't you? I turn, surprised. He's staring right at me. Yeah, I'm not... That's okay, isn't it? He pauses in surprise, likely at my language proficiency, and then presses right on. More than okay. Those drinks don't buy themselves. What's your name? I'm Mock. Damn it! Strangely enough, I haven't had to share my real name with anyone since I came overseas. It feels unfamiliar on my tongue as I prepare to correct myself. Before I can, the clerk furrows his eyebrows at me. Mock? That doesn't sound like any kind of foreign name I've heard before. How am I in this situation? Damn it! It's hard to explain. Do you know what StarCraft is? The elderly cashier's eyes light up in understanding. I've heard of it. You're a pro gamer, then? Yeah, working at it, at least.
I'm sorry, asking a Korean if they've heard of StarCraft is like asking an American if they've heard of the Bible. Like, duh.
I was
They
gonna
don't
go
all follow it, but everybody knows what the fuck it is.
I was gonna go with football, but yeah, that works too. You know, in terms of national pastimes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, working on it at least. I suppose that explains your late-night shopping trips. How long have you been in Seoul? A little more than a month. I like it here. Good, it's a fine city. You can call me Mr. Yeon, by the way. It's very good to meet you, Mock. I simply nod and then look away. I'm not particularly good at talking to strangers about anything other than StarCraft. The conversation between us doesn't lead anywhere else, so he starts ringing up my drinks. With the bottles bagged and offered, he smiles. Take care now. As I make my way back to my apartment for an evening of StarCraft and little sleep. Remind me why we have to meet up here again? I get to play for free at my mom's, you know. And you probably get yelled at if the toilet clogs up, too. Stunt rolls his eyes and pulls out his cell phone, thumb soon jamming away at some weird puzzle game. What exactly is that you're always playing on your phone? I'm glad you asked. It's called Pop Pop Safari. It's one of those casual games meant to sucker morons out of their money. And you're playing it... why? It's my own way of fighting back against something I hate. I'm going to defeat this game in its entirety without paying a single cent. I don't understand how that stops anything. They're still making money from everyone else, aren't they? I steal a glance at his phone. And there's tons of ads all over your screen. Look. You don't understand. It's about the principle. And I wouldn't be playing it in the first place if this dude hadn't showed up, or if this dude had showed up when you said he would. Admittedly, Reva should be here by now, but I can't do anything except wait for him to arrive. I texted back and forth with Jet a bit earlier today. She's too busy wrapping things up with her contract to make it to Golden Zone Fire until way later. From the tone of her messages, it seemed like talks with the sponsors were going well. With word that I managed to pick out a fourth player, she gave me the go-ahead to divulge her identity to Stunt and Reva. Helpful, since we still have a coach and practice partners to recruit. I hear the door to Golden Zone Fire slide open, and I glance over, hopeful. Only to find a bespectacled girl walk inside and look around. No dice. Where the hell is he? Okay, so Reva's a girl.
Yeah.
The girl stands at the cafe's entryway for a while, apparently searching for something. Eventually, her eyes catch and then stay on me. Huh, looks like she's coming our way. Stunt glances up from his cell phone once I turn to address the newcomer. She hesitates before speaking and delivers her words quietly. Excuse me, are you Mock? Oh, hi, that's me. I apologize for the delay. I disembarked at the subway stop too early. Is this one of the teammates you mentioned? She shifts her focus from me to Stunt. His expression is no doubt as perplexed as my own. Is she? Wait a second. Are you Reva? Yes, I am. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that you were also, I just assumed. I trail off quietly. If the mix-up bothered Reva, she doesn't show it. She tilts her head slightly and edges closer to our table. Congratulations! By picking the female character, I have now made this team 75% women. We're gonna kill it in the market. All the sponsors. May I sit? Of course, Reva. This is Stunt. He's the team's only Protoss. Sup? He silences the obnoxious bleeps and bloops of his phone's game in his pocket and bobs his head at Reva. Reva, huh? Doesn't sound too familiar. You must be an online hero. Online warriors! Stunt, I'm familiar with you. Eh? How? I mean, of course you are. I'm the god of Protoss, after all. No, we've matched on ladder several times. Your play is predictable and unproductive. Whoa, hey, to expand is to give mercy, barcode scum. Don't be a hater. You should aspire to more than rush builds and gimmicks. The meta no longer favors aggressive play. Mock, you didn't tell me that this chick was so uptight. Is the rest of the team this lame? Both of them rest their eyes on me, expectant. Now or never, I guess. You won't need to worry about lackluster teammates. Jet is actually the one who's setting this whole thing up. Jet? That's right. With crossed arms, I beam a confident grin at the two of them. Stunt wears a mixture of surprise and excitement, while Reva seems to be simply processing the development. But isn't she on VIP? For now, but she's not happy with her practice environment or how much they're paying her, so she's not going to renew her contract at the end of the month. Interesting. Eyeglass adjustment with the anime glare to block out the eyes. My macro teammate is Gendo Ikari. Reva pushes her glasses up against the bridge of her nose, silent. Stunt looks like he wants to simultaneously call me a liar and a genius. How exactly did you end up recruiting for Jet? It's not like she has any need for some mediocre foreigner. Mediocre foreigner that slapped down your terrible cheese build, Stunt, and I'll be the first to admit I'm lucky to sit where I am. The same is true for the two of you. Practice hard and maybe we can make something of ourselves in this team. Sound good? I am in no way the captain of this squad, so it feels a little weird to take such an authoritative tone. Still, Stunt backs down and dons a thoughtful expression. Yeah, alright, you're right. This could be big. I agree. Your offer had piqued my interest, but word that a player as accomplished as Jet will be among us has secured it. I will join. Perfect. She'll be happy to hear it. That leaves only the matter of a sponsor, which Jet is taking care of as we speak, and a coach. We'll obviously want to keep an eye out for anyone else with some talent, but for now, this is our roster. The three of us share a long look at one another before any other thought can come to mind. Stunt ends the silence. Wait a second, I'm gonna live with a bunch of girls? This isn't one of those sponsor bait teams, is it? It might be one of those sponsor bait teams. Mock, did you trick me into signing on as a practice drone? This was not part of the future Protoss Bonjour's plan.
I'm sorry, I'm just... All I could think of is like a mix between Kickstarter and a cam site called Sponsor Bait. That's all that popped into my head. It's a genius idea. Somebody needs to do it. But...
Right. No. Does Jet strike you as the type of person to run a team like that? Also, I thought Reva was a guy. Oh, right. What is the name of our team? Oh, we haven't picked one out yet. That is troublesome. Should not such a thing have been taken care of by now? I really should have gotten around to asking Jet. Stunt shares in Reva's indignation with a gesture towards her. Thank you! We need to get this done already. How about we call ourselves the Lamenting Reapers? The hell? What is with this kid and terrible team names? I'll talk with Jet tonight, okay? All you guys need to do is practice and wait for the announcement. You also need to be prepared to move out. It's pretty short notice, but neither of them seems to protest it, so hopefully it won't be a problem. Stunt definitely lives with his mom. It's harder to tell with Reva. She seems to be about my age, maybe a bit younger. It's possible she lives on her own. Very well, as long as the matter is not being neglected. Was there more of importance to go over? If not, I would prefer to return home. A PC bang is an improper practice environment. Pfft, you're just a shut-in. Don't deny it. It's written all over you. Nito. I am not. What right do you have? Before she can say anything else, Stunt lurches forward and grabs Reva by the wrist and begins dragging her towards the PCs. If you're gonna live in our team house, you better get used to practicing next to other people. Let me show you one of my favorite unproductive builds. Hours of games together serve the three of us well. Most professional gamers have a certain level of respect for someone that can put up strong matches, even if they don't have great results. While Stunt and Reva have playstyles as wildly different as their personalities, both are formidable opponents. Golden Zonefire's peak time passed about an hour ago. While it's not nearly as empty as it was when Reva arrived, there's enough room that we have a relatively quiet section to ourselves. Hey Reva, Excel told me that you know all 3 races. Why are you only playing Terran? Terran is the best choice given the current metagame. It is also the only race that earns 100% of its wins. Blunt, but I can't deny her logic, especially when she puts up such a strong match. She's pretty biased when it comes to game balance, though. I've got to say, Stunt's unit control is ridiculously precise. It's a shame he only puts it to use with his so-called innovative strategies. Jet's on her way with some good news, or so a text from her says. The only thing that's keeping my mind off of her imminent arrival is the game between Stunt and Reva unfolding ahead of me. Stunt's going proxy 2-gate yet again. Reva scouted it 4 of the last 5 times he's tried it. He's just being stubborn at this point. Still, the map is well suited for the build, and he's already managed to kill an SCV with some good probe micro. Reva's defense is formulaic as always. So far it's working, but she's in for a bit of surprise after I sneak a glance at Stunt's screen. Half a dozen probes stream up Reva's ramp and cut off an exit for the 2 Marines kiting a pair of Zealots. The Protoss units close the distance and slice the pair of Marines to pieces, securing a massive advantage that Stunt carries into victory. Stunt pushes away from his monitor and stands on his hands on his hips. Easy! Reva doesn't let it faze her. She rotates in her chair and shrugs. Unorthodox and inconsistent, but it worked, I will admit. Stunt basks in the glory of victory for a moment longer before something behind me catches his attention. I follow his gaze to find Jet and a man in a business suit walking towards us. He seems out of place dressed so well in a PC bang. Mach and Reva, right? This is Mr. Kim, VP of Partnerships at Enoch Group. His company is looking to get into eSports. The casual timbre of her voice and the pained look on her face says it all. Do not screw this up. I tighten my posture and lower my head and bow to the exec. It's nice to meet you, Mr. Kim. What does your company do? And realize too late that I probably shouldn't have admitted that I've never heard of Enoch. Jet seethes through her teeth, but Mr. Kim takes my question with an easy smile and offers me his business card. I give the card a brief once-over before placing it carefully in my pocket. That card doesn't say shit about what they do. Also, his phone number ends in a letter.
He has 10 phone numbers, 1 for each digit.
We're in a handful of markets and offer a variety of business services, consulting, marketing, and a few other things. Oh, that sounds important. And vague, although I don't say that. Truth be told, I'm pretty much clueless when it comes to business-related things. Stunt and Reva's deer-in-the-headlight silence isn't exactly helping either. But as Jet says, esports is a fascinating industry with a strong potential for continued growth. I'm particularly interested in strategic opportunities based on its unique qualities. I've proposed the idea of sponsoring a fresh team to Enoch's board, but for now we're just shopping around. He pauses to observe my reaction. I get a strong feeling that this guy is a pro at negotiation. As if she suspects the very same thing, Jet steps forward to prevent me from saying anything that could take away her leverage. As I said before, we're still not ready to accept any offers. You have our interest, but we're keeping our options open for the time being. Of course, there's no rush. I merely wanted the chance to introduce myself. And we've got plenty to discuss. Thank you for the ride, Mr. Kim. It was no trouble. We'll be in touch. He's getting, like, more and more vaguely British as I go on. And with that, the businessman departs just as quickly as he arrived. It's only once he's gone that I realize how tense my shoulders are. That guy looks like a secret agent or an insider. Can we name our team after that? Secret Agents? Agents with a Z. Is this Stunt, Mach? She thumbs it in his direction and turns back to him when I nod. Shut up, Stunt. We're probably going to have to name our team after his company. Man, I've been coming up with all kinds of mascots and taglines. Team Enoch? That's so lame. With a sigh, Stunt thinks down in his chair, and Jet does her best to ignore him. So, these are the 2 you managed to pick up, Stunt and Reva, a cafe whelp and a ladder hero, and a literal who foreigner? The 3 of us don't have anything to say to that, so she continues. Alright, whatever, we're gonna make this work one way or another. All that's left for us to do is recruit a coach. Got anyone in mind? Not particularly. VIP hasn't exactly been great for networking outside of the team. They're pretty much done for as soon as I leave. The ease at which she delivers that judgment leaves me taken aback. I guess if she's going to sever ties with her old teammates, she can't afford to second-guess herself. A brutal and unfortunate necessity. How did you know Mr. Kim, then? We've only just met. I asked around if anyone knew of any decent sponsorship opportunities, and an old Brood War friend pointed me in his direction. Fortunate. A coach should be relatively easy to acquire with words with word that a sponsor is ready to back us. Reva stares unblinking at no one in particular. It's a bit creepy just how calculating she looks. Right, anyway, I can handle the rest. You three just need to focus on practice, hear me? Yup! Yes. Yeah. Good, I'll keep you posted on developments. If everything goes as planned, we'll be registered and ready to rock by week's end. The next VSTL starts 2 weeks after that. The fire burning in Jet's eyes is a refreshing sight. I can only promise so much to Stunt and Reva, but for them to see a proven player like Jet get behind the team has to be motivating. I need to get back to the VIP team house. It's about time I let them know that I'm not re-signing. Mock, give these two my number. Text me if you need something. Before I can even respond, Jet is halfway out the door. Rather than dwell on her words or sit in silence, Stunt bounds to his feet and crunches a fist forward. You heard her, chumps! More practice! I'm afraid not. I must be getting home. Jet is not the only one with preparations to make. Yeah, same. Don't let us stop you, though. Fine. Let it be known that when I begged and pleaded for practice partners, I was cruelly denied by my own teammates.
I'm surprised he jumped more at the practice than, getting Jet's number.
Yeah. He's in fucking middle school, pretty much. Stunt's theatrical complaints don't end until I follow Reva out onto the street, though through the door's window he gives us a sour face, then returns to his PC. He's a bit childish. Well, he's still a kid. The two of us start heading the same direction by coincidence, though neither of us bring it up as we share a simple conversation. I ask about her build orders, and she asks me about foreign tournaments. Reva reacts with surprise when I inform her on the antics of foreign FPS pro gamers. Would shouting insults at each other mid-match not disrupt their ability to communicate? Did we watch that together? Did we share in the viewing of, watching competitive, CSGO? No, it was, competitive COD. It was a competitive COD video. And it's just them screaming at each other. It's basically like watching a bunch of, it's like watching a bunch of teenage online COD players grouped together in a room.
Yeah, you sent me that VOD when you found it.
Oh my god. On the other hand, the Heroes of the Storm Spring Regional Championship for North America was a week or two ago. And the best part of that was actually going back and... because there was hype over the one of the semifinal matches. There was hype over one of the semifinal matches because basically what happened is Cog a while back had dropped a player, Glaurung. He's notorious for being a melee assassin Zeratul main. They dropped him because he was playing like shit. And then they brought him back when they lost a couple of other players. So, and my People's Champs, Team Naventech, which was formerly Team Bob Ross Fan Club, which is basically made out of a bunch of other people that had left pro teams or had prior pro league careers. Was up against Cog, and basically Glaurung thinks he's the fucking shit. And so they lost game 1 fairly convincingly. And as soon as the game ends, the casters are sitting... it's in a studio, there's no live audience or anything. So the casters are... If you're looking at the computers, at the caster's desk, the casters are just to the right of Naventech, and then Cog is all the way on the far left from them. And right as soon as the match is over, and Glaurung is on the inside, he's closest to Naventech. As soon as the match is over, Glaurung tosses off his headset and goes, "Shit's free, shit's free," and the casters can hear him yelling. And Solid Jake, just... Urho was closest to him. He's the team's tank player. And, he gets kind of salty online, like streaming, but Solid Jake was just like, I could just see the fire and the rage and the salt and the brimstone in Urho's eyes at that point. And Urho said it the other night on stream. He was like, you do not want a team with me, Zuna, and Ken fired up. Because all that did was make them angry. Not tilted, just angry. So they stomped them in game 2. Total fucking stomp. And as soon as that match is over, Urho's off with the headset. Like, Ken and Zuna have somewhat composed, but Urho's off with the headset, and it's like, what? What now? Bring it! Like, just yelling across the room. Game 3, they wreck Cog again. Everybody on Naventic is out of their seats and shouting. I'm like, damn, I didn't know a MOBA could be this hype. And they interviewed Zuna on a weekly podcast called Town Hall Heroes, and Zuna even said, like that's where I got that Glarung started yelling shit's free. Was Zuna's like, you know, as soon as that game's over, Glarung starts yelling shit's free, and at that point, immediately, I thought to myself, whatever happens, if we lose this next game, I'm gonna kill myself. And he said this on a podcast, right? And so he basically, like, the entire team was just like, nothing matters anymore. Like, fuck finals. If we beat these guys, we go to Korea. Fuck grand finals. This is grand finals. Like, we need to destroy them. And then they did. So, eSports hype, I guess. So, yeah. So back to the point here. Would shouting insults at each other mid-match not disrupt their ability to communicate? No idea. All I know is that they get loud enough to hear from the open bracket area. Who was it that flipped a chair at fucking Evo? You were like next to that bracket or that pool.
Yeah, I don't even remember anymore.
That all you got, West Coast? That all you got?
Oh.
Curious. Our small talk is cut short when she heads for a subway tunnel located along my route home. But just before she descends the tile steps, Reva turns and offers a rare smile. Goodbye, Mock. It was nice meeting you. Bye. Catch you online. When she's gone, I'm left to think over the day's events alone. Mr. Kim, Enoch, this is all too good to be true. Feels right to be wary. Too many aspiring pro gamers have had their fledgling careers dashed to pieces by stupid mistakes and broken promises. I can't let myself be one of them. I'm convinced already that Mr. Kim is Triforce with a business card. Also a lot less black and a lot nicer clothing. Maybe I've earned the chance to rest, to congratulate myself. But I won't. Not yet. Gotta go home and grind that ladder.
I didn't see a power glove on Mr. Kim. That's all.
Lately, the streets haven't seemed so foreign or confusing. Might just be because I stick to the same route every time I walk to Golden Zone Fire, but I like to think I've really started to figure out life as a foreigner. I've settled into a routine that works for me. A few hours of ladder in the morning, then I hang out at the cafe with whoever shows up that day. Practice, talk strategy, maybe grab some food, and then we go our separate ways. It's enough to satisfy me, while still offering plenty of free time to keep me from burning out. It's not a champion's regimen, but it should suffice, hopefully. Jed is always pushing me to practice longer, but it's hard to see the point. What's 10 hours going to do for me that 6 hours doesn't? Definitely not going to be a champion.
4 more games in wall.
I haven't seen that Bolt guy at Golden Zone Fire since I challenged him, luckily. I was anxious about the possibility of running into him again. A confrontation when I'm supposed to be training is the last thing I need. I'm waiting for him to be like the inevitable rival or the coach.
Yeah, I was gonna say the coach.
Familiar landmarks crop up one by one. It's not long before the cafe comes into view, busy as it always is on the weekends. I squeeze past half a dozen middle schoolers and make my way into our quiet corner. Yo, what took you? We've been waiting on you for so long. Don't listen to him. He got here just before you did. Stunt scowls and sinks down in his chair. I try not to smile. Rev is a no-show again. Messaged me this morning and said she wanted to stay in and ladder. Is Excel coming? I know Crash has Team League tonight. Nope, he mentioned that he has some last-minute build prep to take care of. Who are they playing again? Kane, I think? Right. There are a lot of advantages for players on a team. Recognition, housing, practice, salary, but getting to play in a team league is one of the biggest perks, period. A lot of young StarCraft talent breaks out in VSTL. Matches against top players are usually rare for those that aren't qualified for VSL, but not in Team League. For an amateur, a win there is more than a sign of good things to come. Did Excel tell you anything about his team's plans? Jet shakes her head before successfully snatching Stunt's phone out of his hand. She rolls it in the space between her fingers and turns back to me. Don't be so naive, Mock. Excel and I may be friends, but that sort of information isn't something you can just give away freely. Stunt gropes for his phone, a pout set across his face. Jet dodged it a few times before willingly relinquishing the device. Stop ignoring us. It's rude. Whatever. You quit lecturing Mock. Their eyes battle briefly before Jet concedes, glancing away with a dismissive gesture. Stunt savors his fleeting victory with a grin before dropping the phone on the table. It's rare to find someone willing to share their strategies openly. Maybe it's different in the foreign scene, but not here. I lost to an amazing one-base all-in on ladder a week back. Sent the guy a message asking for a few replays. He told me to kill myself. You don't need to look so pleased about it. Sheesh.
That sounds like America, actually.
Yeah. However, there's one exception. That being, if a foreigner eliminates a Korean player, our team will sometimes band together and send replays for his next opponent to study. It's a matter of national pride at that point. Been that way since Brood War. That's a rumor I've heard before. Replays can be invaluable in preparing for a specific player. What could be more useful than an exact recording of someone's strategies and tactics? At least Jet has the courtesy to look vaguely apologetic. I nod, doing my best not to look too surprised. How much do Korean players practice for Team League? The same amount as the individual leagues, or...? Depends, not less. If they're taking home at least top 8 in Solo League, StarCraft may be a one-on-one game, but teams can't always be sponsored on the backs of individuals. Don't think that gives you the right to neglect your Solo League. Admittedly, VSTL is secondary to VSL. If any of you fail to qualify, I'll make you a slave of my practice house. Cool your jets, Jet, and have a little confidence in us. When you inspire confidence, I will. Remind me again how you placed in the last qualifier? Stunt wrinkles his nose and takes the opportunity to return to his cell phone game. Even between teammates, StarCraft's competitive nature thrives. Silence lingers until I decide to speak up, if only to break the tension. Why don't we go watch Excel play tonight? I'm sure he'll appreciate the support. They simultaneously glance up at me, then at each other. More silence. I'm just about ready to give up when Jet speaks. That's a good idea. I've been meaning to speak with Excel anyway. Sounds like fun. Let's bet on the games, though. Gambling? Shouldn't be surprised. You play Protoss after all. 25,000 on Crash. Ha!
He should be.
What?
He should be playing Tekken.
Yeah. Ha! I'll take that bet any day. Wait, no, I'm not done. 25,000 won on Crash, but if Excel all kills, you pay double. Stunt pauses, chewing over the odds with a contorted look on his face. All kills are incredibly rare. It's hard enough for one player to single-handedly defeat more than one opponent, let alone an entire team. I suppose in StarCraft.
OCV.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure any Third Strike team doesn't need to have Kuroda as their anchor. You just put him in front and OCV everyone.
Unless he picks Q against Makoto.
With his decision made, Stunt slams a fist down hard enough to draw a few glances from a nearby table. Deal! The match won't be for another few hours, so you'll have plenty of time to regret your mistake while I'm kicking your ass. I want to try out this new build making the rounds called the 2-base Immortal All-In. It crushes Zerg, or so they're saying on the forums. Hey, let's go. Hey, Mott, come watch and learn a thing or two about how to PvZ like a pro. That's useless to me. He doesn't wait for me to finish my thought before bolting to an open PC. I'm left with Jet, who takes her time in joining Stunt. He's funny. Funny doesn't win games. Jet seems conspicuously pensive as she rises to head over to a machine. Just as she turns to leave, she stops and looks back at me. Mock, do you think that teammates have to be friends? Huh? What do you mean? The question is straightforward. Yes or no? Do teammates need to be friends? It doesn't hurt, but no. We're signing Bolt, aren't we? It doesn't matter what I answer to this question. We're signing Bolt. Like, part of me is like the visual novel answer. The visual novel answer is yes. The StarCraft 2 answer is no. Teammates should be civil, but it isn't necessary that they be friends. I agree. The goals of a friendship and the goals of a team don't always align. It can complicate things and make life more difficult for everyone. If only more people saw it that way. Esports isn't a game for people afraid to face the real world. Too many losers retreat to StarCraft and expect everything outside of the game to be easy and fun. People like that aren't cut out for esports, or anything really. In any case, you did well to recruit Stunt and Reva. I appreciate that. I'll take care of the rest. Be around Golden Zone Fire every single day for the next week or so, and practice. Practice a lot. She answers my nod by taking off in Stunt's direction.
You're getting demoted to manager.
Yep. Where is she? After all it took to convince her, Reva better not have changed her mind without telling me. Maybe she's the type to be always running late? This isn't the first time I've been back at the VSL studio since the... This is the first time I've been back at the VSL studio since the qualifier. Reva's not the only one who feels out of place. I'm just about to send her another text when I catch the top of her head coming up the stairs. Get lost in the subway again? My apologies. This is my first time at the VSL studio. Oh, really? You've never tried to qualify or come to spectate? She shakes her head. That's a huge surprise, considering she's a local. It's easy enough to follow VSL online, but nothing beats the live experience. Watching the round of 4 in person was one of the first things I did when I got here in Seoul. Yeah. Jet and Stunt are probably waiting for us. Come on. Dude, I miss seeing stages like that. Nearly every seat in the spectator arena of the VSL studio is taken. It's only with a wave from Jet that Reva and I are ushered past the back rows and into our seats over on the side. Stunt is seated by Jet and acknowledges us with a smile. With how differently the four of us are dressed, it'd be hard for anyone to tell that we're actually a team. Yeah, your Protoss is dressed in yellow, your Zerg is dressed in red, your Terran's in blue, and your random player's in green. I also enjoy that we built a team of 4, like, explicitly out of all of the selectable race options.
Yeah.
Even though Reva is currently maining Terran because of statistic reasons. Well, I guess technically we're not a team yet. Not officially, anyway. With the thought on my mind, I look to Jet and keep my voice low. Do we have a uniform planned? Oh, hell yeah! I want a team jacket! The uniform we pick comes out of the team's war chest. It's stupid for us to splurge when we don't have any results. Stunt's longing stare doesn't fade away until Jet focuses a glare in his direction. The production crew is busy at work behind the scenes. There are way more VSL staff members than the stream lets on. People with clipboards and headsets pace the studio frantically, moving from team benches to behind the booths and back again. Excel sits on the end of the bench with the rest of Crash. Their coach, a balding man with small eyes, a red nose, and a clip-on tie, paces back and forth with his hands in the pockets of his blazer. Most coaches are usually retired players or have management experience. This guy has got either the latter or nothing. Wouldn't surprise me to learn that he's never played a game of StarCraft in his life. The players of Team Kane sit on the opposite side of the studio. Their coach is far more subdued, and one that I actually recognize, an old B-tier Brood War pro that aged out of his ability to compete. Stunt leans over to Jet to whisper something, but before he can open his mouth, the Victory Star League's theme cuts into to announce that the broadcast is about to get started. Man, I remember when they licensed fucking music and just like took one song that was just the theme of the season. When I started getting into watching StarCraft, I think it was OSL had licensed Misery Business by Paramore. That was a song to hear blasted at Korean StarCraft finals. Korean Star Leagues have a weird fascination with alt-rock. The same songs from my embarrassing freshman year playlist blast unabashedly into stadiums of eSports fans. Nail on the fucking head! The crowd's cheers die down, and only once the commentators give their introductions. When I look over my shoulder, I can see the table where they keep the 2 English casters. Is it tasteless in Artosis? Please, and then my brain immediately went to, please introduce the English casters to me as tasteful and arty. Nothing would be better. The duo is loved more for their laid-back banter than their in-game analysis. It's not anything I'd change. It is Tastosis. So many banelings. There's no way for me to hear them without getting a headpiece that'll make me look like a tourist. I'll have to settle for the Korean commentators. Welcome to the VSTL. Today's first match is an exciting duel between Crash and Kane. Both are very solid teams and have been around from the very beginnings of StarCraft 2. I'm eager to see whether or not they'd show us good games. This is the furthest Kane has been since the beginning of StarCraft 2 Team League. Crash will need to make it to VSTL finals if they want to share that accomplishment. Indeed, they have a challenging path ahead of them, but I'm certain that they are capable of returning to their former glory. My thoughts are the same. Only one of Kane's players remains in the VSL, so they should have had plenty of time to practice for this match. Can the same be said for Crash? Certainly so. Crash's lineup is well tested and proven in VSL. It's a sure bet that they'll not have neglected to prepare accordingly. Well, there won't be any jokes about cartoons from the 90s, but I should stay pretty well informed throughout the series. An array of multicolored overhead lights announced the first match. Polished motion graphics and meticulously collected player statistics whiz around the display at the front of the studio. The VSL studio really has hype building down to a science. Yeah, they do. Who do you think Crash is going to send in first, Jet? Not Excel unless they want him getting sniped right off the bat. I nod. A common strategy in Team League is to have a mid-tier player spend all of his time practicing preparing specifically for one heavy hitter. There are other things to take into account too, like the map or remaining opponents, but there's no doubt that Team Kane has one of their players ready to take down Excel. By the time I glance back up at the stage, the first two players are headed into the booth. Excel remains on the bench, eyes set on the same screen as the crowd. It's starting. Sure enough, once the players have their settings prepared and the coaches give the go-ahead, the match begins. Spawning in the 7 o'clock position for Team Crash is the blue player, Jang-El. His opponent from Team Kane at the 2 o'clock base is Xing. Protoss v Protoss, close positions. This match won't last long. Mirror matchups are so stupid. PvP most of all. You don't know the intricacies. Sometimes it can be really intense. Literally every strategy is a coin flip. PvP should be considered gambling and made illegal. PvP usually ends with both players on one base. The decision to expand is often too great of a risk, especially with the players as close as they are. More so than in any other matchup, mind games are essential to securing an advantage. Reach too far with aggression against a balanced strategy and you lose. Go middle of the road against the tech build, you lose. Tech up against an attack, you lose. Yeah! Jang-El and Xing have both opted for 4 warp gate strategy. Prepare to watch these two clash. It'll all come down to their control. Or that can happen too. Even with Jet's grumbling, Stunt looks like he's enjoying himself. After all, this is the type of game he loves. Rev is paying attention, though likely only to note the inefficiencies of Crash and Kane. Both of the Protoss players complete the buildings necessary for their attacks simultaneously, but it's the Team Crash player who's out of the map first. Proxy pylon near the Kane's player's base would allow for a quick frontline reinforcement. Same thing would be going perfect for Crash if not for one small problem. The attack was spotted. Rather than answer with his own attack, the Kane player is holding his units back at home, and he's hiding half of them in a small quarter of his base. I realize what's happening just as the Crash player makes his move. Without the proper intel on his opponent, he feints a motion up at his opponent's ramp in hopes of learning what he's up against. But the Kane player doesn't even budge. No force field, no panicked chrono boost, nothing. No defense at all. After a moment's hesitation, the Crash player charges up the ramp, fully confident that he's caught his opponent in a moment of weakness. For a moment, it looks like this was the right move. Heads forward to disable Kane's infrastructure and has his exit cut off. The Kane player reveals hidden units and surges into Crash's force. Even though the battle begins with 2 at an even unit count, the force field preventing the Crash player's retreat keeps his reinforcements from joining with the main army. Despite some excellent unit control, the dwindling Crash army is devoured by the Kane ambush. Jang-El taps out a GG and the first game goes to Kane. An exceptional trap by Xing. The key was the position of his extra The key was the position of his extra 3 gateways. He allowed the Crash player to catch sight of a single gateway, which led him to believe that there was hidden tech at the back of his base. Excellent tactical thinking. Indeed, it would be too risky to find out with certainty what was coming next. He had to act. He should have cleared the path to his opponent's base before showing his units. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That could not have been more stupid. This is what happens in a matchup where scouting past the 3-minute mark is impossible. Kane is fortunate that Jang-El hesitated. Had he just able to forward gateway in time, Crash would have been victorious. I aim my attention back at the crash bench to see who they're sending in next. Excel turns back and whispers to one of his teammates, and he starts heading toward the booth. Finally, some ZVP. Better hope that Shing's all-ins aren't as pitiful as your stunt. 2 minutes later, the crash Zerg stands across the map with the Kane player. The match opens slowly, but all of a sudden a greedy opening from the Kane Protoss elicits a call for attention from the commentators. Yeah! How bold! This map does not lend itself to a Nexus first, yet he's planted one down without pause. And it seems he'll be going unpunished. With one victory already, it seems that Kane decided now was an appropriate time to take a risk. This spells bad news for Crash. With the Protoss economy established so quickly, Zerg will struggle to survive this powerful mid-game attack. The commentator's warning shows itself to be a well-informed one. The Crash player realizes his disadvantaged position too late. From inside the booth, he looks visibly shaken. Shing marches across the map at the 8-minute mark with an absurd number of blink stalkers. He's not bothering to clear the watchtowers on the way over. His unscouted forward pylon allows him to power forward unchecked. The Crash Zerg's clumsy defense is painful to watch. The game was decided by the 2-minute mark, even if it took the Protoss another 7 to play it out. That was embarrassing. Not my preferred all-in style, but I'll admit it has its merits. After a sudden realization that 3 out of 4 of us are on camera puts our conversation on pause. The VSL loves to show foreigners and girls in breaks between on stream for whatever reason. Reva shields her face and glances away while I wave and watch my expression on screen with an undeniably awkward expression. The cameraman makes the mistake of panning past us to focus solely on Jet. Not a second later, the screen switches back to the casters. What kind of idiot doesn't drone scout? He went pool first. What an easy slow wing rally for the win. The map lends itself to a typical Zerg playstyle. He mistakenly believed that if he could defend an early rush from the Protoss, he would have been at an advantage going into the mid-game. I can already taste the extra-large Bibimbap. Bibimbap? I'll take Crash, Jet. Quiet, 0-2 isn't impossible to come back from. It isn't fighting games.
unless you're doing a longer set, but
Yeah.
10-0 is impossible to come back from.
Even if you challenge for an extra 3 games.
Yeah.
13-0 is hard to keep your career on.
And yet somehow the sponsors did nothing.
I guess at that point you sponsor a player purely on, what's the word I'm looking for? Personality? And less so on tournament results?
Name recognition? Drama?
Yeah. But Jet's confidence falters a minute into the 3rd game. The Kane's Protoss immediately sends a probe cross-map intent on deciding the game with an early rush. Scout around your natural, moron! It takes 2 seconds! And as if he somehow heard the order through his booth's soundproof foam, the Crash Zerg catches sight of the proxy gateways just as they finish constructing. A moment later and the game would have been decided. How will the Zerg react? He responds by throwing down static defense in his main, a good option since a pair of stationary spine crawlers are too strong to contest with just a few zealots. The hatchery finishes despite the Protoss' efforts to force a cancel. Looks like Crash is going to stabilize here, or would if not for... No, what are you doing? Stop! Jet takes 2 fistfuls of her own hair when the Zerg uproots a spine crawler and begins moving it down the ramp. The Protoss reaction is instant. The Kane player rushes to take a fight with the remaining static defense. Even with a handful of Zerglings and a Queen aiding the spine crawler, the spine crawler falls with only a single casualty for the Protoss. An unmistakable blunder. He aimed to defend his natural expansion with the 2nd spine crawler, but failed to wait until he had enough Zerglings. Such impatience is going to cost Crash the game and possibly the series. With the free pickoff, it's not long until the Kane player snowballs his lead into a victory. One of his teammates charges into the booth and claps his back a dozen times, both of them smiling through some banter. It's a stark difference from the Crash bench. All save Excel look ready to accept defeat. With a calm look back at his coach and a nod, he rises to replace his fallen teammate. Seems that Crash will send in Excel as their final player. Will he be able to prevent the all-kill from Shing? We must take into account Kane's morale. The momentum in this series certainly favors a 4th and final victory. Excel, do not lose! Few of the people seated in front of Jet wince at the volume of her jeer, turn around and stare, then realize that they were about to shush a VSL champion. But By the time she's finished signing a phone case from one of them, Excel is in the booth and ready to go. Who is this crazy? Oh. Sign my phone? Think he can bring it back, Reva? No single player on Kane can match Excel. I find myself in agreement on that, but Reva's specific wording and lack of conclusion leaves me wondering. What could be the final match of the day begins now. Excel against Shing. Who will emerge victorious? Excel looks at home in the booth. He shows the four of us a smile and thumbs up just before the game loads in. Despite the dire position his team is in, Excel wastes no time in fighting back for control of the series. He deflects the Kane player's pressure with a well-positioned Marine force at the top of his ramp, killing off a Zealot and scaring away a Stalker. A vital maneuver. The Protoss now lacks the information on whether or not Excel is expanding. How will he compete? What are his options? Excel's cloaked Banshee is nearly complete. The Kane player hesitates a second later and throws down an expansion. Jet heaves a sigh of relief, confident that the game is decided. Classic Protoss move. Don't think. Guess. It's true that if Excel had been expanding, the Kane player would have earned a slight edge. Instead, he's forced to watch helplessly as Excel's Banshee flies straight into his base and blasts his worker line to pieces. With a highly delayed and evident begrudged GG from Kane, Excel puts Crash on the board. Ha! Salty that he didn't get his all-kill. Why did the Protoss leave so early? He could have at least gone for a base trade or something. Are you kidding? Terrans have had base trades figured out for almost a year now. God, I wish my gateways could fly. I guess, but there's no reason to throw in the towel so early. Even if he was going to lose, he could have at least tried to wear Excel out for his games to come. Excel could easily bring this back. But even with his team's first loss, the Kane coach looks confident. He gestures for one of his youngest players, speaks to him for almost an entire minute, and then sends him into the booth. Ah, the Kane coach sends in an amateur Terran to face Excel? He must have confidence in either this young talent or remaining two players. We must assume he wants to give the young Terran some experience. Certainly, there's no other reason to send him against as strong a contender as Excel. Reva watches as the Kane coach impassively, never allowing her attention to leave him until the 5th game loads in. Yeah! Kane opens with a command center first. Seems Kane has a strong preference towards the strong preference to set the pace of the game and force their opponents to react. How will Excel respond? Excel is going to scout it out and throw down his own CC. What else? He'll out-macro this kid any day. Reva answers Jet with a nod, though not in a way that makes her seem particularly pleased. As predicted, Excel's thorough scout discovers the Kane command center early enough to stay in an economy-focused game. Even with the amateur Terran's slight advantage, Excel claws his way back up on top, onto even footing, and then claims a lead when he catches a drop en route to his base. And Crash fans roar a cheer when Excel charges his opponent's tank line in a way reminiscent of old Brood War mech battles. Old habits die hard. Even with the game all but decided, the Kane Terran remains until Excel moves forward to destroy his base. Just before offering his GG, the Kane amateur scans to reveal all of Excel's structures. As I thought. A wince as Jet belts out an ear-shattering cheer and then turns to Reva. What do you mean? Kane will send in their Terran ace. Not such a hard guess, really. But even the previously confident Jet watches Kane's bench now. Sure enough, their team's ace pulls himself onto his feet, peels off his team jacket, and tosses it to a squealing fangirl. Did she just sniff it? I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that. The Crash coach paces back and forth with his hands behind his back. His bench looks far more invested in the series than they did 2 games ago. What a treat! The highest level of Terran versus Terran is about to unfold before us. I'm excited to see how Excel measures up. His TVT has always been his strongest matchup. Jet and Reva watch relentlessly as the game loads up, even restlessly as the game loads up. Even Stunt has stopped cheering against Crash. Kane will go command center first. If Excel does not 2 racks, he will be at a disadvantage. Are you from the future or something? What's with these super specific predictions? Shut up and watch. Excel opens with a standard play and repeats the scout of his opponent's CC first at a timing near identical to the last game. Feigned bunker aggression provokes a brief panic from the Kane ace, forcing him to pull a handful of SCVs to contest what could be a direct counter to his build. Genius! A good move, but it will not be enough. When the fake rush ends, the Kane player throws his head back, heaves a sigh of relief, and smiles. He begins teching aggressively, a dangerous option without scouting Excel. Can you please explain what's going on? Why do you know what's happening before it happens? The Kane ace used the amateur to bait out Excel's response to a CC first. This isn't something that would be possible if they weren't ahead by so many games. They sent their best player out to face Excel with full knowledge of his reaction, but Excel can adapt on the fly, right? Easier said than done. Sure enough, Excel's answer is the exact same as it was to the amateur before. Improvising is a rare skill for StarCraft players, even for someone as skilled and well-rounded as Excel. The Kane player will build 2 starports behind his natural to avoid Excel's typical scan patterns. He will then clear out Excel's map vision with Hellions and then camp Excel's production with Banshees and Vikings. This isn't over. Excel will scout the gas timings and might realize that something's off. But the strategy proves to be too specific for Excel to cover without scouting directly. The missile turret in his worker line won't protect his production structures. Excel's scan misses the mark by mere pixels. There's no chance he'll be prepared in time. With the center of the map clear, the Kane Terran flies straight for Excel's base. Unbelievable. It's rare that we see such a unit composition, but but it is the perfect answer in this scenario. The Vikings keep Excel's inferior air force at bay, while the Banshees pound Excel's structures and tanks without answer. In an attempt to establish missile turret defense at all costs, an attempt to establish a missile turret defense costs Excel a ton of workers. When he eventually stabilizes, his army is less than half the size the Kane Aces. The game is over, yet Excel remains until the bitter end, trading as cost efficiently with his inferior force as he can. It's only once the Kane ace dances his units back and forth that Excel finally taps out. A cheer from the Aces fans to announce the conclusion of the series, 4-2 Kane. Luckily, Stunt has the sense not to gloat about the money that he just won from Jet. The 4 of us sit in silence as we watch Excel agonize over his loss. While Kane is huddled together with smiles and cheers, all of Crash sit with their heads down, save Excel, who still hasn't left the booth. His coach looks furious. He barges in through the booth's back door and raves at Excel from behind his back. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Frustration is one thing, but Excel won 2 games before he went out. Even if he had gone down without a win, there's no reason to yell at him. How is that supposed to help? Just as my anger on Excel's behalf reaches the point that I think to say something to Jet, Excel rises from his seat and slides past his coach without so much as a glance in his direction. Should we go talk to him? Yeah, come on. 3 Korean commentators are in the middle of winding down the series with post-match analysis when we rise and exit through the studio's back door. We find Excel standing alone with his palm on his forehead. When he catches our footsteps, Excel turns to regard all of us with his typical grin. I lost. Oh well. His carefree attitude is unique among professional gamers. Even the average pro... If the average pro isn't angry or depressed by a loss, they're at least frustrated. Part of me wonders whether or not Excel is covering up his true feelings, but he seems genuinely fine. I may have watched an OSL final series where somebody got 3-0'd and legitimately cried on stage in camera. Can't remember if it was a 3-0 or 4-0. I can't remember if it was a best of 5 or a best of 7. Part of me wonders whether or not Excel is covering... Oh, yeah, I read that. Bad luck, Excel. You played well. Yeah, thanks. What's the deal with your coach? He seemed really upset with you. Excel scoffs, allowing the disgust in his voice to show on his face. He's useless, especially considering that I do his job for the team league. Busted my ass preparing for tonight. Picked out the builds and the snipers and everything. Drilled the team for more than a week. And your coach has laid the blame for the loss at your feet. Excel nods and glances away. Spectators begin filtering out of the studio, offering us curious looks as they head outside. Looks like the studio is done for the night. It's ridiculous, and not a single person on Crash has the guts to back me up. I didn't switch from Brood War to suffer spineless teammates and a coach with ongoing midlife crisis. And you shouldn't have to. Excel, ditch Crash, and come coach for us. 4 pairs of eyes land on Jet, and all but Rev is bewildered. Excel recovers quickly before crossing his arms. You know I can't. I have a contract. It's not up till next year. He can't play for another team. A player contract, one that bars you from playing in Star Leagues for any team but Crash. Even so, I can't break the terms. I'm required to play for them. I can't take legal action. They can take legal action against me if I don't. And you will, if they insist on it. Live, train, and coach at our team house. All you have to do is show up once a week to play your matches at the studio, and Crash can't do anything. Reva pushes her glasses up against the bridge of her nose, pensive. Stunt stares wide-eyed, as if a pivotal scene in a drama is playing out. As for me, we could really use you, Excel. You deserve better. If I do this and the team doesn't work out, my career is over. He says it as much to himself as he does to the rest of us. It's true, and probably true for everyone else. Excel stares at the floor for a while, deep in thought. When he finally looks up, it's with a casual shrug. Screw it. I've put off my mandatory military training for too long anyway. I'm down. Stunt lets loose an ear-shattering cheer and flings his arms into the air. Reva's glasses nearly fall off in surprise, though she manages to catch them by the frame. Hell yeah! Team Enoch #1! What a motley crew. A cafe whelp, a ladder hero, a no-name foreigner, and now some laid-back young. You forgot the washed-up champ. Try as she might, Jet can't hide the satisfied grin showing on her face. Everything has really come together. This is it. This is what I came to Korea for. The months of endless ladder and late-night online tournaments. I'm on a team, a real team. We need to celebrate. Oh, you want to treat the team? How kind of you, Mach. Jet glances around to see if her quip earned a laugh, only to find Excel wagging a finger at her. Have you already forgotten who convinced you to take the risk and form your own team? I'd say that's worth a bottle of soju or 2. Or 10. Jet brings a finger to her lip, considering which bar to take us to, or how to get out of paying. Alright, enjoy the hell out of tonight. It'll be the last time until we've got a championship trophy that we celebrate anything. Got that? Good choice. Hell yeah! Understood. With a nod from Jet, the 5 of us walk shoulder to shoulder in high spirits, but just as we're about to descend the stairs, Jet pauses. Wait, Excel, do you need to go talk to your team or anything? That stops the rest of us in our tracks. We turn and find Excel at complete ease. Nah, I'll take care of it later. With a knowing smile, he leads us down the stairs and onto the street. The bar that Jet had in mind was halfway across the city, though after a subway ride it doesn't take us more than 30 minutes to arrive. The trendy-looking lounge is packed with 20-somethings, most of them older than even Excel. Stunt walks ahead of us with swagger, noting pride all the way over to our table that he has a fake ID and goes to bars all the time. With who? Your mom? With your mom, bitch! My mom is in the US, though. Oh, her flight landed already? I can't help but laugh. Stunt is incredibly immature, even for his age, but there's something undeniably uplifting about his enthusiasm. With all of the booths full, we pick out a table close to an empty dance floor. It's cramped, but with the 5 of us, we make do. Man, I can't remember the last time I went out like this. Spent so much of this year cooped up in the Crash Team House. Same. VIP's mandatory hours were brutal by Star 2 standards. No one even made good use of them. As a scruffy waiter dressed no differently than the bar's patrons stops by to take our drink orders before Stunt can return to bragging about his iron stomach. Jet shows 3 fingers for the number of soju bottles she wants. With a click of his tongue, the waiter departs with our order in hand. There's 5 of us, though, Jet. You think I can't count? You don't drink soju from the bottle. Oh, well, I've never had it before. That's not a surprise. Soju is unpopular outside of Korea. Well, I'll show you how to do it right, Mach. While awaiting the server's return, I notice Excel glancing repeatedly in Reva's direction. Mach, what ended up happening with Reva, and who's our friend here? I am Reva, and allow me to say that it is a great pleasure to meet you in person. Your play has been an inspiration to me. Is Reva an Excel fangirl? She may have been 15 at the time of his Brood War career. Well, a shame these punks didn't have the decency to introduce us properly. It's nice to finally meet you, Reva. No lie, your mech is the best I've seen outside of VSL. You've got to show me some of the timings on your double armory build at some point. And then we heard a pen drop. You too. I think he broke her. It's okay, Reva. I've been there. Reva manages to mostly pull herself out of her fangirl shock by the time our waiter returns. When he's gone, Excel pours out a shot glass worth of soju and hands it to me. Go on, in one gulp. There isn't much liquid in the glass, so I throw it back without a second thought. It takes a few seconds for my taste buds to react. Ugh, this stuff is awful! It's all I can do not to retch. It's good. How does a girl learn Korean without coming across soju at least once? It's kind of impressive, really. I learned online. It wasn't ever part of my lessons, I guess. That is one of the most difficult ways to learn a language. How did you manage? K-pop and StarCraft. They didn't offer Korean as a language option in my high school, so I studied it in my spare time. Legit. K-pop? Disgusting! I knew you were a Koreaboo scum. Is that a word? Is that a thing? Alright. At least I did something useful with my dumb hobbies. Can you say the same? How's your English? Hello, I am Stunt Protoss. I am one. Very bad. Used two names to help and said lies. Bad student and player needs to work harder. Reva asks for my approval with a look. I give it with a nod. Bad what? What'd she say, Mock? Bad luck. You were almost perfect. Ha! I knew it! I'm a natural! I pour out a shot for Excel, relieved when the culture test is over. Jet's 3 bottles are soon emptied and then replaced. The soju-fueled conversations range from StarCraft and team houses to fashion, college, and whatever else in between. You three are so lucky. Korean guys dropped 2 of our golden years on the military. It's totally unfair. Tell 'em, Excel. Stunt points at Jet, me, and then Reva. Neither of them seem particularly ruffled. Excel only watches, slightly drunk and highly entertained. I would gladly spend 2 years in our military to reap the benefits of your gender. Seriously? Do you have any idea how uncomfortable being pressured into some brain-dead photo shoot with a pink keyboard is? Smile, Agashi. Your headphones don't sell themselves, you know. Why don't you lose the team jacket and pull down your shirt a bit? Oh, I want to see you with double eyelids next time. It's just like that. Literally the worst. Dear God, Jet, please never do that again. That is a line from the game. I am not, I am not improvising. Sponsors pay you to sit in front of a camera. How terrible. Don't tell me that there aren't advantages for girls in esports. It's so much easier to get on a team and you get way more fans. That last part is probably true, but it's definitely not for your play.
Yeah.
Did you see that thing that Kotaku kept reposting about somebody's ad for their trying to create an esports, or they're not trying to create an esports stream, they're trying to break into video game streaming. They're looking specifically for females that don't need experience in the particular esports branded games that they're trying to play, like CS:GO, LoL, and I think maybe StarCraft might have been on that list. But one of the requirements was not being required to be good at any of those games. The other requirement is must be comfortable in a bikini.
What?
Yup.
That sounds like it goes against the new Twitch revealing clothing rule, which did away with Caleb Hart.
I was gonna say it does, but for some reason Caseytron still has a stream, so I don't really know how far those rules really go.
Well, they're new. They're not already partnered, so...
Yeah. Don't tell me that there aren't advantages. Okay, yeah, girls in esports, got it. You cannot understand without experiencing it firsthand, so you only see the good. Come on, Mock, back me up here! What could possibly have made you think I'd be on your side in this argument? You three are so dramatic. What could possibly be worth trading away the free popularity? When I was an amateur back in Brood War, some gross KPGA pen pusher decided he'd help me get my pro license if I spent the night at his place. I had just turned 17. All of our eyes shift to Jet, surprised, though Stunts most of all. I take a moment to silently appreciate that StarCraft 2 doesn't require a pro license to play in Star Leagues. Did you do it? No? What the hell is wrong with you? Jet snatches her glass off the table and snaps her arm back. When Stunt recoils and shrinks beneath the table, she reaches to her drink. She returns her drink to her lips with a scowl. Is it a crime to wonder? Jet grinds her teeth back and forth with her eyes on Stunt, only turning away when she notices Reva and I watching her. For the record, I reported him and he was fired. Push back or be pushed around. Excel drops his fist to the table with a thump, ending the argument and earning our attention. We are gonna play a drinking game. Why? Why? Because we're about to condemn ourselves to a life of timing attacks, hard contains, and positional play. We've got one night to get hammered, and we're gonna make the most of it. You've convinced me. What do you want to play? Oh, let's play the King's game! Shut up. The King's game is for desperate teenagers. She glances over at Stunt and offers a smile to make her point. Nah, chopsticks. It's really simple. I have I say something that might describe one of us more than the others, and we point at who we think what's said describes best. I don't follow. Okay, it's like this. Which of us is most likely to hate soju? Excel takes a chopstick from the table and points it at me, as do Jet, Reva, and Stunt. And then you drink, but we won't count that one. Oh, that makes sense. Why don't you start us off with a few? Most likely... Okay, so here are my options. Most likely to end up in NEAT. Most likely to have the worst fans. Most likely to bang a fan. Most likely to be a virgin.
3 of those end up being Stunt.
Is it the bottom 3? Is it everyone that's not Reva?
Yeah, exactly. We've got 1 for Reva and 3 for Stunt.
I'm gonna say... Ah, God. That most likely to be a virgin one is funny because, like, obviously Stunt, but also probably Reva, and maybe MC, maybe Mock.
I was gonna say maybe Jet.
Could be Jet, too.
Then again, most likely to bang a fan could probably also be Excel because they might figure, you know, Stunt will be washed up before he's
Could...
of age.
Ironically, it could also be Reva, based solely on the doesn't leave the house, might never get this chance again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with... I don't know, I'm going with most likely to be a virgin. That one's gonna be interesting. Which of us is most likely still a virgin? Before he can even react, Excel, Jet, and I point chopsticks in Stunt's direction. He jumps in his seat, aghast. He senses weakness in Reva and aims his answer towards her, only to have her repay the favor. This is bullshit! Calm down. You're like, what, 12? You guys have no idea. I'm a playa, you hear me? Doubtful. You were hanging out with middle schoolers at a PC bang when I found you. Be honest with us. Stunt scrunches up his face, allowing his rage to stew momentarily before bursting out with another protest. This is a rigged question. You guys have like at least 4 years of extra time to luck out. Virginity confirmed. Drink. Cut the kid some slack. It'd be kind of weird if he wasn't. A breach of trust. Ethically unsound. Harassment on an unreasonable scale. He makes a box on the table with his finger, continuing an exaggerated, antiquated protests all the while. This is a no-bullying area. If you enter the DMZ, I will retaliate with full force. Most likely to have the worst fans? Jet. Clicking on most likely to bang a fan. Which of us is most likely to bang a fan? Rushing right out the gate, aren't we? You're supposed to do a few warm-up questions before you get into the raunchy stuff. You only say that because you know you're going to lose this one. Despite finding himself staring down 4 pairs of chopsticks, Excel never loses his easygoing smile. I'll freely admit I've slept with one of my fans before. This question is more like I'm winning than losing anyway, since I'm not a lech. Do you have a story to go with it? Pretty much what you'd expect. This one girl used to show up to all of my Brood War matches. She cheered for me, brought gifts, led all the fan chants, managed my fan club too. I was knocked out of a Star League pretty early a few weeks back, and she was the only person that showed up to my meet and greet afterwards. I asked her if she'd like to go to dinner, and she said yes. It went from there. We've dated for more than a year. Had to break it off when she went abroad for university. Now you got me feeling nostalgic. Thanks, Mock. What a beautiful story. It's hard to tell if the complete lack
of this one is strong.
Huh?
Is strong.
The what?
I said the fangirl in this one is strong.
Yeah. It's hard to tell if the complete lack of emotion in Reva's voice is intentional. I know those kind of fans. They're always like, oh, when I imagine him practicing all day, my heart aches and I want to make him hot soups. Literally no one has said or ever will say that. They're gonna... A well-timed hiccup stops Stunt in his tracks. He laughs obnoxiously when his head hits the table. Someone should really confiscate this kid's fake. Most likely to have the worst fans, because we all know the top answer. Which of us has the worst fans? It's not like anyone but Excel and I even. Jet's train of thought shatters when she notices 4 chopsticks pointed in her direction. What? Defiantly, Jet aims her own at Excel. He merely grins in response. Be honest, when was the last time you had a meet and greet session where some fanboy didn't slobber all over you? Your brusque attitude attracts a certain type of fan, Jet. What's that supposed to mean? It means they like it when you call someone trash. Come on, you're the one that gives those blunt pre-game interviews. I simply say what's on my mind, and if that happens to be how confident I am, then so what? And what does that have to do with my fans? Let's put it like this. Revo, what would you say to the crowd before a big finals match? I would like to thank my fans for cheering me. I have worked hard to improve my condition and will send my opponents to Andromeda. I would promise to show you good games. Sending her opponent to Andromeda?
Yeah, that's a bit special.
So you'll get earnest support. You'll get earnest supporters that love to see you do well. But Jet, your fans want you to lose almost as much as they want you to win. That's absurd. People that cheer for my losses aren't my fans. Whatever you want to call them, they're yours and yours alone. Don't pretend like you don't know what we're talking about. I have plenty of very nice, well-intentioned fans. You're just focusing on the minority of terrible ones. Oh, like that guy that brought a body pillow with your picture to an autograph session? How could I forget? Jet's expression flashes a mixture of anger and embarrassment. She looks ready to throw a punch. God damn it, Excel! I told you about that in confidence. If any of you ever bring this up again, you die. Indulge my curiosity, value my safety. I have to pick indulge. I have to save first? Is that the first time we've done that this game?
I think so.
Did you sign it? Without consciously realizing it, I find myself dodging something. And then glass shatters. Jet's shot glass whizzes past my head and shatters on a wall behind me. From across the room, a few of the bar's patrons laugh drunkenly at the absurdity. She reaches for another, apparently intent on making sure she gets her point across. I'm left with no choice but to raise my hands and surrender. I don't need to know! I don't need to know! She sets the shot glass down and looks away from the rest of us, still hot-faced from the negative attention. Alright, who's a neat? Which one of us is most likely to end up a neat? 4 sets of chopsticks immediately fall into Revo. One of her sticks slips out from between her fingers and onto the floor. Me? Come on! You give off a powerful shut-in vibe. I do not understand. You're doing it right now. It's like you learned how to communicate from a text-to-speech program. Revo, what do you like besides games and eSports? Do you have any hobbies? I watch anime. Anything else? See? Jet is doing her best to keep from piling on, but the urge is evident on her face. But I have StarCraft, so I cannot be a neat. That should be considered employment. Sure, but the question was who was most likely. If you washed out of professional gaming, I could totally see you as an MMO addict. I have max level characters in the most powerful 3, but that does not qualify me as an addict in its own. What's the third one?
It's Korea.
So that could be any number of free-to-play games.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, like, okay, this time period, probably what, WoW and EQ2?
I think this was before EQ2.
Hold up.
I would say maybe WoW, EverQuest, and Guild Wars, maybe?
Yeah, Guild Wars I could see. The original release was in 2010.
Wasn't that like tail end of WoW?
Wings of Liberty... no, release date's July 27th, 2010.
Oh. Okay, so maybe EQ2.
And according to this, EQ2 released in 2004.
Oh.
And it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 expansions at that point. Oh, I'm sorry. Only 5 if you don't count the quote-unquote adventure packs.
I don't know. They were still releasing content for fucking EQ1 up until like what 2-3 years ago.
So, in retort to her having max level characters in the 3 mightiest MMOs, God, how? Those games are disgustingly grindy. You really aren't helping your case. Okay, answer this. What StarCraft community site do you read and post on the most? It is an image board. Drink, Reva. We finish our game of chopsticks with a slew of highly inappropriate questions and equally bold answers. I like soju way more in my stomach than on my lips, though I'm not sure I'll feel the same way in the morning. Our celebration goes late into the night, long enough that we're practically the only patrons left. A tendril of drool collects at the corner of an unconscious Stunt's lip. Reva's eyes are unfocused behind her glasses. But while there's a bit extra to Excel's typical grin, both he and Jet look as collected as ever. It's late. Excel pulls the phone out of Stunt's pocket and checks the time. Oh, it is. He then replaces the expensive-looking electronic on the young Protoss player's head. Jet, the next time you travel for a European tournament, make sure you show up to the after-party. Say what you will about their play, but those guys know how to have a good time. Pass. I go for easy prize money, not to discotheque with Lars and Jorgen. You guys ready to leave?
Racist.
I don't know, it was pretty good. It was at that point in time I needed to look up a very specific player. Oh, it's Johan, not Jorgen. Yeah, I should if we don't want to wake up after noon. This is the worst part of every night out. How the hell are we supposed to get Stunt home? Don't forget Jet. Don't forget Jet, the bill is all yours. Why did you remind me? I can hail a cab for Stunt, I guess. That sounds... Wait, no, Excel, you're in charge of getting Stunt home. Am I? You are. Got team business with these two. Jet thumbs over her shoulder at me and Reva. The two of us share a look, while Excel accepts the order with an easy smile. Go on, then. On it, then. Wake up, kid. Oh, what? Stunt stares through Excel, unresponsive to his offered hand. So much for his iron stomach. Rather than wait out Stunt's stupor, Excel takes the young Protoss under his arm and simply carries him out the front door, oblivious to the stares that follow. Now then, let's talk. Are we in trouble? What? No. What would make you think that? I don't know. I'm getting a parent-teacher conference vibe. God, would you just let me... Look, I'm trying to acknowledge the fact that it's unusual for 3 girls to be on the same team. How is that relevant? Yeah, I'm with Reva. If we're not playing in a female-only league, does it really matter? Will you two just shut up and listen? It's not going to change how I run things, but I want to at least pass along some things that I've learned. Your job is to train hard and win at StarCraft. Nothing else. The only person you have to represent is yourself. Don't let anyone guilt you into being an activist. I mean, if it's what you want to do, then go for it, but you have no obligation to pick up a megaphone because you succeeded. That seems somewhat selfish. Yeah, well, when you win a VSL and find out that people care more about your gender than your play, let me know if you change your mind. I get where Jet's coming from, especially considering your history, but I don't think that's all there is to it. Regardless, my main focus is and always will be winning games. Reva doesn't elaborate any further, even with a probing stare from Jet. I'm left to fill her silence. I'm just here to play video games. Win at video games, not play. Our waiter glides by the table and slips the check in front of Jet, spoiling her grin instantly. When she's done begrudgingly signing her actual name at the bottom, the 3 of us head out of the bar and share a cab home. I wake to the taste of stale soju on my breath. My apartment is mostly dark, save the crack of light coming in through my window. It takes a great deal of effort to dredge myself out of bed, but the need to rinse my mouth is enough motivation. The first time I ever drank too much, I swore to myself I'd never touch alcohol again. Even if that was a pledge I knew that I wouldn't keep, it seems like I won't get another chance for a while now. Well, at least until there's a trophy in our team house. I return from the sink with a glass of water and fall into my computer chair. It's too early for ladder, but I might see what's going on Wait a second. What? Oh my god, Excel, what did you do? Every StarCraft fan site is abuzz with the news that Jet and Excel are ditching their teams. Accusations of collusion, conspiracy, and corruption are abound among Korean and Western fans alike. A laundry list of the Crash's coach's missteps ranks second to an interview where he shifts the blame onto Excel. With the scent of drama in the air, the debate rages wildly on both sides. When Excel said he had a better idea in mind, I had no idea he meant something like this. Jet's new team is the talk of the entire StarCraft community. I rush into the game client, abusing the login button with a dozen clicks a second until I'm finally in. Excel is online, as is the rest of our team. Before I can even open a chat window, an invite from Jet throws me into an underway group conversation. Text messages appear almost as quickly as I can read them. What the hell is wrong with you? Hey, relax. You know what they say about publicity. Lol, holy shit, dude, this is hilarious, Raffle! Word that Stunt, Mock, and I are joining is out. I've received multiple requests for interviews. You should do it. You don't understand. The deal with Enoch wasn't official. This is gonna screw us. Hey, I didn't mention Enoch by name. Just finish the deal and we'll be fine. Yeah, what's stopping Kim from signing us? Excel is kinda right. We have a buzz going now. They're saying I poached you. You couldn't have gotten back at your coach some other way? Nope. And I'll get back at him more when I stomp Crash in Team League. It would be prudent to speak with Mr. Kim as soon as possible, Jet. I know. Ugh. Okay, we're meeting at Namdan ASAP, the park by the VSL studio. Everyone. No exceptions. KK lol. The diamond next to Jet's portrait changes from green to black. Excel quickly follows suit and then Stunt, leaving me in the chat room with Reva. Be fast. Jet'll blow up your phone with text otherwise. I will. Goodbye. With nothing else keeping me at home, I hurry to shut off my PC and dress. I take the stairs of my apartment building two at a time and make my way onto the street. What a mess. How terrible would it be to have spent all of last night celebrating for nothing? Truth be told, whether Excel leaked the information now or let it come out on its own, we'd eventually get this reaction. Enoch wouldn't have signed with us without doing a proper background search anyway. Maybe it's alright for this to be out in the open ahead of time. I set those thoughts aside when Namdan Park comes into view. Its crowded tree line and trimmed green is a welcome departure from Seoul's endless concrete. Jet didn't specifically say where at the park she wanted us to meet, but it doesn't take long before I find her staring down a seat at Excel. She's in the middle of chewing him out, though it'd be hard to tell by the grin she's wearing. Have you seen what they're saying online? The team has to stand out somehow. Better this than limping onto the scene and wallowing in obscurity. We should stand out by winning games, not stirring up shit. This wasn't your decision to make. Excel's the first to notice my arrival and waves me over. Jet's acknowledgement follows, though it's far less welcoming. Did you know he was going to pull something like this? What? No. Relax, Jet. Seriously, worrying will give you gray hairs. I'll relax the moment that I'm staring at a contract for 6 months of funding. Jet's stance goes rigid at the buzz of her phone. She rips it out of her pocket and stares at the screen. Who is it? Kim. He wants to meet us at the Enoch office to sort this mess out. That's a good thing, right? He wouldn't bother to have us come out if the answer's going to be a no. She doesn't seem to agree, given the time it takes her to reply. I share a glance with Excel before Jet shoves the phone back into her pocket and turns to me. We need to get moving. Excel, wait here for Stunt and Reva. Fine by me. Excel takes a deep breath and returns to his bench, no doubt happy to relax while someone else handles the stress of a meeting. I'm coming with you? I'm not enough of a jerk to leave Stunt and Reva alone at the park for an hour, but I need someone at my back. When you put it that way, alright. Then come on, it's not that far. Without a moment to spare, Jet storms off. Excel leaves me a leisurely wave as I hurry after her. Let me do most of the talking, but chime in if it makes sense. Alright. Nervous? No. Don't lie to me. I'm nervous. It's fine to be nervous. I'm fine. When an elevator door opens, a well-dressed Enoch employee greets us with a smile and gestures down the hall. Mr. Kim has been anticipating your arrival. This way, please. I follow Jet through a typical corporate office. Inside, a table seats Mr. Kim, his attention set on a laptop. He glances past the screen to acknowledge us and beckon forward. Jet, Mock, please, sit. We take our seats opposite him. The secretary closes the boardroom's door, leaving the three of us on our own. After a few more taps on his laptop's touchscreen, Mr. Kim turns the computer towards us and gestures sharply to it. What is this? On the display is a comment section of a popular Korean eSports news site. Line after line portrays Jet and Excel as shady and unskilled. And I thought that the English sites were bad. Before I can read another comment, Mr. Kim forces the laptop shut with a grimace. When I spoke of my interest to sponsor your team with the board, most were hesitant to take the risk, even with my assurance that the investment would be worth it in the end. Given the recent developments, I'll simply have to retract my recommendation and take the hit to my reputation. Your team has become a liability without having played a single game. He rests a finger on his brow, expression fraught. This is worse than Jet and I planned for. Do you have anything to say? This wasn't the reaction that we were hoping for, but it shows that people are paying attention to us. Not all attention is created equal. What is most important is that an Enoch team has a large number of supporters, not slack-jawed or passive observers, fans that are invested in the team's victory. You'll immediately have 5 people invested in an Enoch squad if you sign us. Through narrowed eyes, Mr. Kim shifts his eyes in my direction. Mock, should I say that you are a large part of the doubt plaguing a possible sponsorship deal? I blink once, taken aback. Me? Are you truly surprised? Your ability is completely unproven. While Excel and Jet may have their integrity questioned, it is you who the fans mock. If our fan base doesn't have faith in your ability to win games, then what use are you? What? I'm a good player. I just need time to prove it. Time that you haven't earned. I hear myself tripping over my next protest. Right then, Jet cuts in. Mr. Kim, there must be something we can do. Excel and I are high profile. Even with a rocky start, we both have loyal fans that will follow us to a new team. That may be so, but the public perception of Mock remains an issue. Is it worth the trouble of keeping her on when your reputation has become compromised? He links his fingers together and glances between the two of us, awaiting an answer. Jet closes her eyes and runs a hand through her hair. She takes a long moment to decide on what to say next, much to Mr. Kim's interest. We could arrange something to fix that. Oh? Elaborate. A show match. The perfect chance to showcase Mock's ability to compete. Against someone from your team, fans will assume that the match is fixed on her behalf. No, I have someone else in mind. Someone who StarCraft fans know and respect, and that Mock owes a beating. It's Bolt. She turns toward me and locks eyes with me. Is she talking about a show match with Bolt? I mean, you're not allowed to turn this down. I wasn't planning on it, just how are you going to get him to agree? I know Bolt well. He'll jump at the chance to publicly humiliate someone he doesn't like. Best of 5 will do nicely, and I think it would be fair for Enoch to put half a month's worth of team funding in as the prize, wouldn't you say? Jet turns away from me and towards Mr. Kim. For the first time since we stepped in the room, the businessman cracks a smile. If you ever decide to leave StarCraft behind, you're welcome for an interview for any open sales positions at Enoch, Jet. Very well. If Mock is victorious in this show match, I will consider your team's reputation redeemed. I don't bother asking what'll happen if I lose. God, what did I do to deserve this pressure? Would you mind speaking with the producers at VSL Studio to see if they would be willing to host us? A week from today is short notice, but we don't have any longer to waste. I'll have it done. You're very lucky to have someone as skilled as someone like Jet as your team captain, Mock. When I don't respond, he smirks. Satisfied, Kim rises from his leather office chair. Jet and I quickly follow suit and exchange handshakes with him. As he meets his palm with mine, Mr. Kim leans forward and whispers to me, "For the record, I would greatly prefer to see you succeed. Don't let a mistake in the next week end your career before it's begun." Nonchalantly, he parts from our grip and departs the conference room with long strides. His secretary skitters after him down the hallway, leaving Jet and me to find our own way back to the elevator. Well, you came to Golden Zone Fire looking for a chance. Now you've got one. Happy? You stuck up for me. Yes, and? I guess I thought that you'd have done what was best for the team. Who said I'm not? Mr. Kim? I don't recall putting him in charge of team management. What kind of team captain would I be if I tossed you out on the street after recruiting Stunt and Reva? I don't know. You said yourself that you wouldn't put the goals of friendship ahead of the goals of your team. Oh, in that case, it's not too late for me to go and tell Mr. Kim I've changed my mind. If you insist on paying me back, do so by practicing hard and beating the shit out of Bolt. It's been way too long since I've seen him lose in person. And for the record, I know what I said, but the more I think about it, the more messed up it seems that we'd waste our careers with people we hate. So for now, I've decided that I like you. Don't make me regret that. So much for cold efficiency, and I'll do my best, as expected of anyone that wears my team's colors. Now come on, before someone mistakes Axel for a bum. Just before the elevator doors close, Mr. Kim turns the corner of his office and watches us go. My legs are sore by the time we make it back to Namdan. Weeks of huddling up in my apartment obviously hasn't been great for my personal fitness. I catch sight of Stunt by his wild hair. He's the first to notice Jet and me and calls at us with a wave. Yo, is the team dead? Not yet, and not for a while if our plan works out. Excel sits up from his reclined position while Reva has hardly moved at all since she came into view. Plan? Mach is going to win a show match. Reva takes hold of her glasses, gears visibly turning in her head as she works out the point of a show match. Excel and Stunt simply look to me for the answer. Mr. Kim agreed to sponsor us if we can redeem the team's image. I have to win a series against Bolt. Bolt? That surly Protoss on Shock? He's a Brood War player, though. He plays Star 2 on his own time. With money and the chance to embarrass a foreigner on the line, he has to accept. And you're okay with this, Mach? Excel glances in my direction, genuine concern etched in his expression. He seems to be picking up on the doubt I'm feeling. Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm going to practice as hard as I can for the next week. As will Bolt. I don't have anything to say to that. She's right, after all. The five of us take a moment to reflect on the severity of the situation. Gradually, I find the eyes of my teammates drifting towards me. I wipe the sweat from my neck and steady myself with a breath. I'm sure that I can handle this, but not all on my own. Obviously. Listen, if he's a Protoss, I'm going to grind out endless games. You and me, Mach. Bolt's play has more depth than proxies and one base all ends. Do you have a better idea? What the hell would she get out of practicing with a Terran or a Zerg? Stunt pulls out his phone and dons a stubborn expression. Jet rolls her eyes and glances past him. Everyone has a role to play in making sure this team lives on past a botched show match. Stunt may... She winces and then glances begrudgingly at the young Protoss's direction. Be the only one of us that plays Protoss enough to spar with Mach, but this is still a group effort. Axel, get out your... you get to test out your coaching chops. He raises a thumb up without bothering to stand. You know it. Reva, work with Mach on the openings and strategies, and I'll see what I can do to get my hands on a few of Bolt's replays. Affirmative. We don't have any time to waste. Bolt's going to be preparing for this match with a KPGA regimen. You think you can handle 14 hours a day, Mach? I don't need to practice long. I just need to practice smart. You need to do both. Yeah, she's right. It's only for a week anyway. The idea of 14 hours of high-level StarCraft is enough to make my wrists sore. Still, I have to live up to my team's expectations. Alright, do we start tonight? Obviously. Jet stares enough to get him to spit it out. I kinda maybe sorta promised Mom that I'd make up all the chores I'd been skipping out on at our PC bang. Look, I thought the team was definitely over, okay? We're StarCraft players. Don't pretend you guys don't know the importance of time efficiency. I need to start smoothing things over with her if I'm gonna move out. Come on, don't look at me like that. Useless. Whatever, we'll meet up at Golden Zone Fire tomorrow and every day after that until the show match. Mach, just ladder tonight. Right. Reva, you free? Yes, why do you ask? Go with Mach and watch her ladder for the rest of the day. See if you can pick up on any holes in her play. Very well. I've got to confirm the schedule with Bolt, among other things. With me, Axel. Should have guessed. Right then. Stunt, go handle your bullshit. Golden Zone Fire tomorrow morning. Go, everyone, go. Go, 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 gog, gog, gog. Excel peels himself off the bench and falls in behind Jet. Stunt is quick to follow, though he turns out of the park in a different direction. Actually, I was planning on going back to my apartment if I'm just gonna ladder. Oh, should I return home? No, why don't you meet me there in an hour? You won't need to stay too long. Very well, I will see you in an hour. After sharing the location of my apartment with a map from my phone, I bid her farewell. Reva fades along with the green of Namdan as I trace the path back I took this morning. My glazed-over eyes remain locked with the pavement as I amble my way home. I know that I should feel relieved that our team still has a chance of coming together, but I can't help but worry. I'm not carrying around the weight of my failed attempts to qualify for VSL anymore. This is different. It's anxiety, a tightness in my chest that threatens to strangle me if I let everyone down. I don't know what I expected. It's not like it's going to get easier from here anyway. Every week in Team League, there will be a chance to cost my team a loss. More than anything, I'm frustrated by Mr. Kim's doubt. It's one thing for my friends and parents to misunderstand me, but for Mr. Kim made an informed judgment that is not worth the trouble. I jam my fists into my pockets and exhale deeply. If I ever doubted that eSports was brutal, I don't any longer. Short as the walk is, I don't find my nerves calming as I settle into my pace. A pack of energy drinks might help me douse my angst, so I decide to cut a detour that'll take me past Gomart. I should probably pick up something for Reva too. It'd be a pretty classless move to make her watch me grind out ladder games without offering anything in return. My older brother used to always make me watch him used to make me watch him play games back when we were kids. This is different, though. She's not watching me for fun. She's watching me to tell me how badly I suck. I brush past another customer on my way into Go-Mart and glance toward the register. Mr. Yeon smiles in my direction, but then immediately walks into the store's back room. I don't waste time browsing and head straight for the refrigerators. By the time I'm done shopping, Mr. Yeon comes out of the back room with a brown box and makes his way towards the register. I set my bottles and cans down on the counter and offer the old man a nod. Hello, this is all for today. In a rush, are we? Oh, not really. Why? With word that I won't run off, Mr. Yeon smiles wide and hoists the box up onto the counter, pushing my drinks aside in the process. I blink, dumbfounded. Before I can ask what he's doing, he clicks open a latch and reveals a wooden board on the underside of the box as a lid. He flips it up and sets the box between us, where a customer might expect to have their groceries rung up. A cloth sack rests beside the game board, and and the contents of which clack against one another and the counter. He pulls an object out of the bag and shows it to me. Have you ever played Go? Go, huh? It's a board game that's played mostly in Asia with a theme similar to chess. Without meaning to, I asked the first question on my mind. Is this because I told you about my pro gaming career? Let's just say that I wouldn't be showing it to you if you didn't. We'll go over the rules and play around. Just one, and my whim may be satisfied. Alright. Better for one extremely awkward game of Go than an infinite amount of semi-awkward trips to the convenience store. Mr. Yeon pours the contents of the bag into a pair of wooden cups beside the board. On closer inspection, they appear worn and scratched up. The board itself isn't in great condition either. The corners are chipped and its lacquer is long faded. Even though I've never played and I'm familiar with the premise of Go, Mr. Yeon explains the basic rules thoroughly either way. The main objective is to control and capture space by surrounding your opponent's pieces. It's not unlike StarCraft in that sense, only there's no advantage in quick fingers. Even if I'm aware of the basics, I don't have the faintest clue about the game's strategy. What is this supposed to accomplish? Once Mr. Yeon has finished explaining the rules, he motions toward my stones. Black takes the first move. You may begin whenever you are ready. Okay, for the record, I have no idea what I'm doing here. That's alright, just play on instinct. It's hard to hide the confusion I'm feeling, but I agree and shuffle a handful of black stones in my direction anyway. The point of Go is to control space. It seems like a good idea to form some basic structure that I can play off of later. But not 5 turns into the game, Mr. Yeon begins placing his pieces dangerously close to mine. When I look up from the board, he answers me only with a smile. Soon he begins capturing my stones with relentless efficiency, never allowing me to challenge his position when I'm so focused on protecting my own. I fight back to defend my territory, but the clerk's plan is always a step ahead. I fix the board with an intense stare, certain that I can somehow unlock the intricacies of Go by demanding it of myself. When the board is halfway full, it becomes readily apparent that I am going to lose. Mr. Yeon glances up from the board with a raised eyebrow, smile ever present. Would you care to stop? I don't mean to keep you for too long. No, it's fine. Let's finish. After turning down the chance to concede, it feels appropriate that I somehow stage an amazing comeback, but the beatdown only continues. Towards the end of the match, Mr. Yeon manages to capture more than half my stones in a single move. My displeasure makes itself apparent with a groan. I deliver my last few turns on the board, enough to echo a clack throughout the store. Mr. Yeon scratches his chin casually, scanning the carnage he's wrought upon my pieces. I don't see any possible moves. I pass. And I pass too. That means the game is over, right? That is correct. I release the breath I've been holding in, relieved. I'm so glad to live in an era where video games exist. The old man replaces his Go set in the bag and box and clears out the counter of our diversion. Yet, instead of reaching for my drinks to scan, he sets his eyes on me. You play to avoid losing. I feel a frown form on my face. Why exactly am I getting a lesson on an Eastern board game from a cashier? I don't say anything, so he continues. Specifically, you play to avoid the pain of loss. It is clear to see when you have no learned habits or memorized strategies. There is nothing inherently wrong with playing that way, but you should be aware of the fact. I am a firm believer that games showcase personality in its purest form. Was this whole thing just an excuse to share some wisdom you couldn't think of any other way to bring up? I said that with way more disrespect than I should have. Nevertheless, Mr. Yeon's slight smile doesn't falter. Perhaps, or perhaps I'm just looking for conversation. You didn't quit when I gave you the chance. That's good, but you can only go so far without playing for the win. David Serlin write this game?
I was just thinking.
StarCraft isn't so different from Go. I know that because life isn't so different from Go. Strive to win, Mark, not to not lose. I don't understand. Try to. It's an important lesson. A serious glint flickers across Mr. Yeon's face for a fraction of a second. When it's gone, he looks no different than before. There's no one else that moves those drinks off the shelf like you do. I'm incentivized to have you succeed and stick around, you see. He lets out a laugh, one that continues only until I smile politely in response. When he's done, Mr. Yeon rings up my drinks and hurries them into a bag. Right, off you go. I won't ask you to play again with me, unless you'd like to. Alright. I lower my head in a bow, not the type reserved for a venerable elder, but at least one to show that I'm thankful. The door rings when I hurry through it, leaving Mr. Yeon to endure the sickly linoleum of his store. In a roundabout way, I think Mr. Yeon's little diversion might actually help. It's nice to know that he cares enough about me to offer advice, even if it's just because I shop at his store. Whether or not that business about go and not losing remains to be seen. Is an aversion to losing really that ingrained in my DNA? Go, Mart, huh? Alright, Mr. Yeon, I'll admit, that's pretty clever. It seems much darker outside than it was when I came into the store. I reached to take the time on— Oh, shit! I have half a dozen missed calls from Reva. Did that go match seriously take more than an hour? An urgent need to get back to my apartment replaces my thoughts of Mr. Yeon and board games. I weave through the pedestrians as best I can while simultaneously texting an apology to Reva. My feet carry me as fast as they can. If Reva got tired of waiting in my front door and left, I'm screwed. Pant my way past the apartment stairs and pause in the hallway to find that she isn't there. Frustrated, I sigh and force open my door. I'm dead. I'm so dead. Why didn't I keep track of the time? Why now? Why when so much is on the line? As I rack my brain for an excuse I can offer Jet, I look up to find that my apartment is already occupied. You're late. She rises from her seat on my bed and points at the computer. Ladder. How are you in my room? The door was not locked. I let myself in when you failed to answer my calls. You just came in? Yes. My breathing calms as my panic subsides. I forgot to lock my door, huh? I guess this is better than showing up to find my computer missing. Fright. Okay, sorry. I got caught up with some old guy. Here. With a rustle, I reach into the bag I'm carrying and hand a drink to Reva. Caught up? Reva takes my offering without so much as looking at it. Whether or not she's actually going to drink it, I've done my due diligence as a host. It's hard to explain. You do not need to explain your relationship with an old man if you would rather not. Even though I'm pretty sure it's a joke, Reva doesn't smile to show it. I offer a nervous laugh and fall into my computer chair, trying to move on from the topic of my tardiness. So, right, ladder. Is there something you think I need to practice? You will want to match against Protoss players only. Quit the match if your opponent is a Terran or Zerg. Wait, but my ranking! With a few keystrokes, I display my proudly earned Grandmaster badge, accompanied by my rank in the double digits. If I leave 2/3 of my games tonight, I'm going to lose a bunch of ladder points. Are your ladder points really that important? Absolutely. Well, without a word, Reva takes the mouse from me and logs out of StarCraft 2. Her fingers dance across the keyboard, and a second later, we're logged into her barcode account. The Grandmaster badge accompanying Reva's anonymous username is ranked even higher than mine. Play on this one, then. I do not care about ladder rank, and neither should you. I scratch behind my head and have the sense to look embarrassed. She's right. It's pretty dumb for me to worry about ladder rank at a time like this. With a nod and a click, I search for my first match of the night. It takes a handful of games before I'm finally matched against the Protoss. He's got one of those weird names with random capitalization. Reva sits over my shoulder, sits just over my shoulder at the edge of my bed, eyes fast on the monitor. Your APM is low. I wince and respond with a flurry of unnecessary keystrokes. I've never cracked 300 APM, even when I'm focused on doing so. A minute or two passes without comment, though it's hard to tell whether or not that means she thinks I'm playing well. Your engineering bays are late. Are they? They are. Damn it! I whip my mouse hard, box a pair of SCVs, and slam down the two delayed structures. Check his army composition with a scan and decide I'm ready to challenge him. Delayed upgrades or no, I manage to keep close enough eye on my opponent's tech that I have a massive swell of Vikings by the time his Colossus comes into play. His army gets caught in an awkward position when he tries to establish his third base, allowing me to power forward into his base. It's a win I'd normally celebrate with a self-assured smile. But with Reva over my shoulder, I'm forced to feign humility in my victory. I turn towards her and motion towards the screen. Well, what do you think? She adjusts her glasses and purses her lips, taking a long moment to decide on her response. He was bad, but you capitalized on his mistakes. I have no major complaints. As a good player won't let you obtain free information. Use your scans wisely. I thought I used them pretty well, didn't I? Scouting is one of the things I'm best at. Not particularly, and you should always aim to be even better. That was one of the things that I learned watching, partially from watching pros. It was actually Tempo Storm Dreadnought that I caught doing an educational stream where one of the ways he said to improve your shot calling in Heroes was to take a look at one of your replays that you won and figure out how you could have possibly won harder. which is an interesting thing to think of in application to any kind of video game. Like if you're at that basic level of maybe not always understanding what you did wrong, try and get a better feeling for what you did right or what you could do more right. I grumble and turn to queue up another game. Yet another thing to focus on, I guess. I had thought that Reva's low-key attitude might have made her a little bit lenient with my mistakes, but she's not all that different from Jet, minus how she delivers her criticism. My next match is on the largest map in the current ladder pool. I'll have a pretty easy time defending my expansions with the way the map's choke points are constructed. Rather than poke and prod with Marines or go for early aggression, I throw down a quick third base in a far-flung corner of the map. Shortly, I begin my natural expansion. Pulling off this kind of tactic is incredibly rewarding. If it goes unscouted, I'm practically guaranteed to win. I love that. Like, as I'm reading that, like, Reva is just slowly creeping in from the side of the screen to judge my play. Why are you doing that? Practice something useful. I shift my gaze aside to find Reva uncomfortably close to me at the monitor. What if I decide to hide an expansion against Bolt? Are you going to risk the team on a coin flip? Cancel it and aim for a long game. Reva offered the advice too firm to be called a suggestion, and I find myself moving the mouse to do as instructed. This gaff is going to send me back a fair bit. I gear up for a drawn-out match by focusing on my upgrades and base defense. It's not long before my Protoss opponent and I have split the map in half and are jockeying for position. Build more defenses. You can afford a dozen planetary fortresses. Is that really necessary? Mock, your opponent is Protoss. Protoss players will stop at nothing to cheat an honest Terran out of an earned win. Funny, I typically imagine balance whiners as loud and obnoxious in real life. Wonder if she quit playing random out of guilt. Still, I oblige her and cram as many static defense structures as I can into a vital choke point. There is an observer on your army. I squint to find that, damn, she's right. Damn, how did I not catch that earlier? With a scan, I pick off the Protoss scout and reposition my units. It takes a few minutes to adjust my army compositions to one that better suits the extreme late game, but I'm soon ready to clash with my opponent. At this point, StarCraft becomes less about strategy and more about patience. It's important to know when to stalk and when to pounce. I sense an opening at last and rush into my opponent's weak flank. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see Reva tensing up, but... Alright, Envy. Yeah, I'm about to shut down. I planned on stopping about 30 minutes ago, but I wanted to finish out the day, so... thanks for hanging out. This will probably get highlighted at some point. I sense an opening at last and rush into my opponent's weak flank. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see Reva tensing up, invested as much as I am in the outcome of the battle. But try as I might, my snipers don't connect with the High Templar scattered amongst the Protoss army. He drowns my units in Psystorm and steamrolls down the center of the map, destroying my constructed defenses along the way. I struggle pointlessly to mount a counteroffensive, but the damage is done. I'm forced to tap out a GG and quit the match with a huff. He controlled his army better than you did. I spin my chair to face Reva with a frown. If he didn't, I would have won. Ugh, that was so close. Yes, it was. At least you can concede a point to my credit when it's deserved. But damn, that match took a while. As long as go with Mr. Yeon, if not longer. What time do you need to leave? Are you throwing me out? What? No, I'm just saying if you need to be home at a certain time, then let me know. I do not. Okay. Sheesh, why does talking to her feel so unnatural? This has to be intentional on her part. I need a break. Your opponents will use every wasted moment to become better than you. Breaks are dangerous. Just a short one. I'm thirsty anyway. We'll be back on the ladder with a vengeance afterwards. Thirsty. I see. My fist clenches involuntarily as I reach for a can, nearly forcing me to knock it over. I offer Reva an exhausted look before cracking open my drink. Not to be outdone, I take a poised sip before glancing casually in her direction. So, why do you pretend to be a guy on the internet? Now it's Reva's turn to tense up. Her face contorts, her eyes glazing over as if scanning her internal database for a scathing comeback. 404, comeback not found. I do no such thing. My details about my private life are kept just so, private. Others simply assume. Well, all that's coming to an end if we're going to be on Team Enoch, isn't it? I suppose. Excited about living in a team house? As long as it is being paid for, yes. In it for the eSports money, I see. Of course. Since primary school, I have dreamed of my own bunk bed and free cup of noodles. Reva is refreshingly realistic about pro gamer living conditions. Maybe she can talk some sense into stunt. To be frank, anything is better than life back at home. Oh? Trouble with your parents? No, my parents worked hard to give me opportunities they never had, and for that I will always be grateful, but they live far from Seoul, so I was isolated from my friends for most of my life. You mean your online friends? Yes, but now I have the chance to make my own way. I take pride in the fact that I have turned my skills into a living, no matter how meager. You should be. Most people living off of StarCraft do it with the support of a team, but you've managed on your own. You have the right to be proud. Maybe, but sometimes even though I am happy with my accomplishments, I lack the confidence to devote more of myself to this game. Really? Wouldn't have expected to hear something like that from you. Why? I don't know. You just kind of seem like the resolute type. No regrets, that sort of thing. I'm bad at putting into words my impression of Reva, but she seems to understand what I mean by the nod she offers. You are correct that I always give full effort to my pursuits. However, this is not a matter of regret. Normally I can be satisfied even in failure if I have done my best. But what if the task was not worth working towards in the first place? What do you mean? Esports is like anything else, isn't it? A climb to the top? It is, but StarCraft is inherently less valuable than most other things. Art, athletics, education, science, a corporate career? Objectively, my time is better spent on almost anything other than pro gaming. But I do not believe I can truly distinguish myself at any of those things, while it is possible as a pro gamer. I was born in the right country, I am the correct age, and I have enough required talent. Even then, it is not logical for me to spend so much time and effort on what should statistically prove unrewarding, yet I cannot bring myself to turn down a chance to compete. I have the same drive, so I can at least understand that, but you really won't do something if you can't be the best at it? And the way you talk about your motivation, do you even like StarCraft? No, I don't. She answers bluntly and then looks away. I have nothing to say to that. High-level StarCraft isn't always fun in the traditional sense of the word, but it sounds like Reva genuinely doesn't enjoy the game. For her to be as good as she is, with that holding her back, is hard to understand. StarCraft's greatest players have always credited their love of the game as a major factor in their success. How far can she hope to go without that advantage? With silence filling the space between us, Reva takes the opportunity to try out the drink I brought for her. On the first taste, she screws up her face and hurries to set it down. How can you stand something so sugary? I shrug, since I don't have a good answer. It's not like I can explain why something tastes good. Where are you living, if not with your parents? Do you know what a Goshiwan is? No way. Really? That's a term that showed up in one of my online sessions. If I remember correctly, it's an absurdly tiny type of apartment, literally the size of a closet, with a low price to match. I live on the edge of Seoul, so rent is inexpensive. I pay with my winnings from my online tournaments. My matches on the last week of every month. Matches on the last week of every month, if I have not yet hit my quota, can be very stressful. That has been my life since I graduated from high school. Damn, you don't mind the lack of space? I do. I am enjoying the chance to stretch while it lasts. She demonstrates by falling back onto my bed and fully extending her legs. I shake my head and try not to laugh. It'll last. The team house will be a nice upgrade for the both of us. Reva sits up and rests her arm on her knees. Break time is over. Return to the ladder. Alright, alright. Spin my chair back towards the computer and resume my training. The blue light from my computer monitor shines in Reva's glasses. Her advice and my grumbling is all that's said between us. The matches bleed into each other, one foe falling after another. I'm in a Protoss-slaying groove. Reva goes quiet in the middle of a particularly intense game, leaving only the sounds of my keyboard and mouse clicks to mingle with the sounds blasting from my headphones. I manage to prolong my win streak with a multi-pronged attack that forces my opponent to tap out. With a triumphant grin, I push off the desk and turn. Boom! 3 and find that Reva has fallen asleep on duty. Well, that explains why she didn't point out that my dropships were delayed. Is it really that late? I rest my hand against my cheek. Should I wake her up and tell her to go home? She looks too peaceful for me to do that in good conscience. I can let her sleep on the floor, I guess. I bunch up a hoodie from my dresser into a makeshift pillow and ease myself onto the space under my desk. The ground isn't exactly comfortable, but with enough shifting around, I find a decent spot. Not long after, my eyelids grow heavy and sleep claims me. Alright, I've been streaming for 3.5 hours. I think that's good to call it a night. I've also been voice acting for about 3.5 hours, so I think that's about good to call it a night. So I'm definitely going to highlight this for this, if only for the sake of remembering what voices I did for which characters. Because it may be a week before I come back to this. And a lot of glasses of water. So, shoutouts to Envy for hanging out. Thanks, Psychotic, for chilling on Discord and in the chat. And thanks to this guy whose name I have to highlight again because I can't read it. Shadow Strike the King 1 for popping in and saying hi. So yeah, I will be finishing this at some point. It's about StarCraft and pro gaming. It's a visual novel that somehow managed to grab my interest and doesn't have any porn in it. So, thanks to everybody for hanging out. Until next time, I'm Nick Latency, and good luck. Have fun.